The ghosts are asking if you could eat some of the dish and describe it to them.
Isn't that something you could do?
Yeah, any person, okay?
What? Women aren't allowed? That's so unfair, but also out of respect to your culture, okay?
Fine.
Well?
Yeah, it's not great. Why is it so chewy?
Yes, all coming back to Thor. This is very special moment.
Oh, Thor. I love this side of you.
Oh God, the cab just enhances the flavor. Oh, this is a disastrous pairing.
I might be asking too much of you. But I don't have a choice. Only you can do this. Please, help me. Finally, we meet, son.
The stage is set.
The light shines brightest in the darkest of times.
All right, buddy, I'm here for you. Don't worry.
Confront your fate.
Don't give up.
Keep going.
You can lean on me if you want.
Protect.
Fulfill. Your destiny.
Welcome to the wild frontier of mystery and magic. This is where your great adventure begins. Ever since the miasma came around these parts, it's been corrupting everything it touches, even the plants and animals. To restore the land, you'll need to set up your homestead and cultivate your garden. Craft new gear. Discover new recipes and create an arsenal of powerful spells. And when you're finally ready to venture into the miasma, who knows what secrets you'll find there. But don't worry, you're not alone in this. I'll be with you every step of the way. You and your trusty familiar Huckleberry. You ready? Sustain your sanctuary and discover what makes a home.
valiant adventurers once fought to bring peace to the realm of Farul and avenge a murdered king. But now, a new peril threatens its people. The once peaceful and benevolent queen has turned against her subjects, casting Farul into darkness and despair. The resistance is rising, and the fight for freedom has begun. Adventurers will travel far and wide to prevail. Victories will be hard fought, requiring strategy, strength, and courage. New alliances must be forged to bolster our ranks. The fate of Farul lies in the hands of the Resistance. The time to act is now. Will you join us, adventurer?
Saying goodbyes?
Saying hello.
You think your wife can hear you?
No.
Then why bother?
Maybe I'm wrong.
You're going to die.
Maybe not.
Goodbye to you, my trusted friend.
A new day is dawning. New ideas, new rules, new management.
We've known each other since we were 9 or 10.
Who is this?
The Marquis de Gramont. Challenge him to single combat. Win or lose, it's a way out.
I don't sit at the table.
Your family does.
Please pray for me. I was the black sheep of the family.
Man has to look his best when it's time to get married. Or buried.
I'm going to need a gun.
Goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die.
If you win, the table will honor its word. You will have your freedom.
It's hard to die.
Under the old laws, only one can survive. Failure to meet at sunrise
It's hard to die.
will result in execution. Last words, Winston?
Just have fun out there.
I want you to find your peace. But a good death only comes after a good life. You and I left a good life behind a long time ago, my friend.
It's hard to die.
So I'm very happy to be here with the co-writer and producer of some of the coolest spectacle that's been on screen in the last 30 years. His new show, The Ark, is on Sci-Fi right now. Dean Devlin, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So we're going to talk about Stargate, specifically the sequence where they go through the Stargate for the very first time. What, just as a moment in your filmography, like what is it that you can look back on? What's memorable about that particular scene, that moment for you?
It's so interesting that that's the moment you've picked, because I speak a lot about that moment.
It's a good moment.
When I'm talking about screenwriting and filmmaking. There's an old saying about bad writing where a writer will write, "The army marches over the hill." And of course that means 5 days of shooting and 1,000 shots, and it's so much more complicated. Well, this is the mistake I had made in the script for that scene, because all I wrote was, they walk through the Stargate. That's literally all it said in the script. But as they started to do it, it became evident that all of them were bringing the uniqueness of their character to how they were reacting to the Stargate. And Kurt Russell comes in, he's very tough, and he's gonna muscle his way through, and the others are kind of nervous and worried. But when James Spader gets there, he's filled with this sense of wonder and excitement, and his life's work is built to this moment. So he walked to the Stargate and he put his hands in, and then he pulled his hands out and he looked at his hands and he looked up with this wonder, and then he went into it. And it was a magical moment. But Jeff Oken, who was our effects supervisor, was literally screaming, standing right next to me, going, "I can't hold the effect that long. Tell him I can't hold the effect that long." And I'm like, shut up, just let him do his thing. We'll figure it out later. And of course, Jeff Oken is a brilliant effects supervisor, and he did figure it out later. And it became a magical moment that ended up being much more about the character than the effect.
Yeah, and it's such a great gear shifting kind of moment too, because it's a terrifying thing that they're walking towards for the first half of that sequence, and it's very tense, and even the score it's like that nails on a chalkboard kind of like base of your skull sort of score. And then he pauses, and here's this guy just kind of appreciating the beauty of what's in front of him. And this, again, the score also turns into this sweeping kind of the theme, the da, 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 da. Yeah, it's this really beautiful moment before he's transported across the galaxy.
And that's why you have to really give some freedom to the set. You know, there's 3 parts of filmmaking. There's the writing part, there's the shooting part, and there's the editing part. And each one has to somewhat divorce itself from the other. You know, if the shooting part becomes too religious to the script, you miss a moment like that. Right. If the editing is too religious to what you were trying to do when you shot it, you miss opportunities to create something new. So I think it was Tom Hanks who once said this, that the reason it's so hard to make a good movie is you have to make a good movie 3 times in a row. You have to write a good movie, you have to shoot a good movie, and then you have to edit one.
In terms of movies that hold up from that era and movies that don't, it's the ones that sort of accentuated the practical stuff with the visual. So like, I guess the question is the liquid part of the Stargate, and like, was there any version of that was sort of pared back a little bit to account for what was available to you at the time, visual effects wise, or was it all just like, no, we got to get it look like?
No, we always had this idea that it would be the liquid. I think the thing of it exploding outward and sucking back in came in a little bit closer to the shoot. Yeah. But every time Roland would come up with another idea of how this thing worked, our effects guy would just lose his mind. But Jeff Oken is a genius, and he always complains, but then he always pulls it off. He's brilliant.
Were there any influences that you were trying to stay away from? Like,
I think that I don't think you can do science fiction honestly in a vacuum, because there's been so much great science fiction work done. You're standing on the shoulders of giants, and to deny the connection is a fantasy, because there's nothing you can do where people won't feel like, oh, there's elements of this from there, or there's elements. So my feeling has always been embrace it. Embrace the history of this, because it gives you a common language. Like, for instance, the opening of the Ark, you see a room filled with sleeper pods. And if you've never seen science fiction in your life, you won't know what those are. But if you have, which I think most people will have who want to watch the show, they'll go, oh, those are like the sleeper pods in Alien, or oh, those are like the ones in Passenger, or there's a language. So I don't have to stop and educate the audience. So here's how cryogenics work, and I think it allows you to tell a story in a more fluid way when you just accept the fact that there are connections between what you're doing and what has been done before.
Is this one of those moments where you sort of like I know they're bought in if this moment gets a pop?
That would have been Independence Day. Mm-hmm. The road on Stargate was very bumpy. So at the time, Roland and I didn't have an enormous amount of power, and our executive producer had a lot more power than we did. And when we did the very first test screening, it didn't go very well. And we rated, we had a very high rating in the slow area.
Okay.
And so afterwards, there was a big discussion. How do we fix this? How do we fix this? And my suggestion at the time was, I said, I think we've cut out too much of the character story. And so they're not invested in our characters. And our executive producer just screamed at me and said, you don't know anything about filmmaking. I make these action films. There's too much blah, blah, blah. We need more action. We need more action. So they sent us out. We shot 2 new action sequences. We cut out more character stuff. We put the new action sequences. We tested it again, and the slow rating doubled. And at this point, everybody thought we had a gigantic bomb on our hands. Now remember, this was an independent movie. We weren't at a studio at this point. And at that time, to do a $60 million independent movie was unheard of. And in fact, I think I have somewhere in my office the headline on Variety saying, biggest failure ever, ? And everybody left the picture. Literally, Roland and I went into the editing room the next day and there was no one there. Everyone was gone. Ugh. So Roland and I knew we only had a week before we had to go and record the score in England. So we worked 24 hours a day in the editing room, just taking out the stuff we didn't like that we were forced to put in, putting back all the character stuff we wanted. And then we did this new cut. But we had no idea if we'd made it better or made it worse. All we knew was our last test screening was a disaster. And then I had this weird, originally Jay Davidson was not an alien. In the film we shot, he worked for the aliens. But Jay Davidson at the time was on so many drugs and so out of his mind. Literally, we had guys holding cue cards, this, and we're like, how do we, this is killing us. Our villain is not scary. And I said to Roland, I go, he doesn't work for the aliens. He is an alien. And I was like, how are we gonna do that? And I go, I don't know, his eyes will glow or something. We'll mess with his voice. Yeah. And we did. So we did all these changes, but had no idea if we'd improved the film or hurt the film. We went to England. David Arnold put on this spectacular score. It was so great. And then we flew to Canada and we mixed the film, again, having no idea. Now the film's finished. So it's getting ready to go out. And we get a call from MGM who decided to release the film. And they said, well, we want to test it one more time. And I was like, what's the point of testing it? We're finished. We can't change anything. Yeah. There's no more money to change anything. They go, well, we want to test it for marketing purposes. So now we're doing this test screening. And literally, I'm in the bathroom heaving, nervous. And then I stop and I hear heaving next to me and I realize Roland's in the next to me. And we couldn't even go inside to watch. We were so nervous. And then finally, I looked at my watch and I said, I think it's over. And we walk in and it wasn't over. It was the last scene. And it was like huge cheers in the audience. Oh, great. And the head of the studio was high-fiving us, and we're like, it worked. It worked. So we didn't know we had anything that even remotely worked until that screening.
One of the other things that strikes me about this movie is that it's early 90s, coming off of Schwarzenegger and Stallone and everybody like owning the 80s and Commandos and Terminators and all of those type of things. To then have an action movie and Kurt Russell was an action star.
Oh yeah.
But then to have an action movie that is sort of led by this academic was kind of a new deal at the time.
Well, I think that was kind of a theme in a lot of the movies Roland and I made together. In fact, I think he kept that theme going on. I guess we both kept that theme going on, which was the idea of trying to create our hero who wasn't a hero because of his muscles. He was a hero because of his brain. Right.
It was very much part of Independence Day as well.
And, and The Librarian for me later, and I think he did the same thing with Day After Tomorrow, and so. But I think both of us wanted to create another kind of hero, one that was much more nerdy like us.
Well, it worked. It worked because we're sitting here talking about it not too many years later. But Dean, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. It was great to talk to you. Really appreciate the look back. But looking forward, catch The Ark every Wednesday at 10, 9 Central on Sci-Fi, and it's streaming the very next day on Peacock. Thanks again, man. Great talk.
Thank you.
In this house, we love horror, and our guest today has quickly established himself as a filmmaker to watch in that space with his feature debut, Skinamarink. Kyle Edward Ball, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to talk to you about this movie, which I should mention is available to stream on Shudder right now, and you should all go watch it if you haven't already. But I do want to talk about the limited theatrical release that you had, which really have elevated the movie's profile. You guys made over $1 million on a production budget of $15K in one weekend. I think it's safe to say that a lot of the horror diehards were a big part of that, who knew they just couldn't miss the chance to see it with an audience. How did it feel having that community come out and signal boost the hell out of this movie?
It was insane. So originally when we did the contract with Shudder, before it was announced, before anything, there was talk of maybe one screening in New York and LA, maybe one in Edmonton. And then after it picked up a little bit of steam, that shifted to, maybe we'll do a Paranormal Activity one. So 12 theaters at a time. That was insane. And I didn't honestly know how well it would do. But with that being said, we made it for 15,000. So if we did $500,000, that would be considered a financial success. And then when we hit theaters, and for one of the days, it wasn't for the full weekend, but for one of the days, we actually cracked the top 10 of that day. it was amazing. Like, it felt like it was just another thing in this whole experience where it felt like every dream as a filmmaker that you have has happened to me in the past 2 months.
But now that the movie is out on Shudder, I do want to know, do you have any suggestions for like ideal situation in which to watch it?
So I really think it comes down to, you know, good horror works on any medium, any screen size, as long as you follow rules of it's dark, you have your undivided attention. Like, it has to be late, it has to be dark, and it has to be loud is the most important thing. You have to crank the volume and not ride it for like, oh, there's a jump scare, I'm going to turn the volume down. You just have to let it happen.
Now, we are IGN. Obviously, we love games around these parts. Were you a gamer growing up? And what influence, if any, did video games have on how you tell a story?
So, oddly enough, I'm not really a gamer. Like, I did play games like Super Nintendo growing up, but there's some weird exceptions to the rule where I would really get into a particular video game. And one of them, I guess if we're tying it back to horror, was I believe it was Resident Evil 4, the one with Leon. And then in a weird way, Silent Hill 2, which I've never played, had a strange influence on this movie. I remember years ago, my friend Shevlin said he was describing the experience he had of playing Silent Hill 2. And the way he described it was, he's like, Kyle, you don't understand. There'll be parts of the game where you're playing for hours and nothing happens. And it gets unnerving after a point where it's just nothing is happening. And it starts to feel like you're in the environment. That idea always stuck with me of just like, what if there was just parts of it where just nothing happened, right? When I was writing it and editing it, I thought I kind of toyed with that idea. Just literally nothing was happening throughout the movie. And there were a handful of shots in it where it's just like nothing. There's one shot in particular towards the end, I won't spoil it, where it's just dead. Right? So yeah, that's a weird way that Silent Hill 2, of all things, kind of influenced the philosophy behind this.
Well, hey, if the internet loves one thing, it's cats. And if it loves two things, it's cats and turning horror movies into memes. And Kyle, I've seen you very active on Twitter lately. Maybe you've seen some of these, but I would like to share with you some of my favorite skinamarink things from around the internet, if you'd let me.
Awesome.
I want to start with Harry Nordlinger, who has a Skinamarink, a collection of his favorite shots from Skinamarink. We can get that up on the screen there.
So those are Looney Tunes. Yeah. I actually saw a few of these when I was editing, and I think even particularly the bottom left, and thought, oh, it's like I was doing this by accident.
Well, let's move on to now when Kinder Trauma's taken notice, you know you've made it in the horror world. Let's take a look at Skinamarink Shrinky Dinks.
This was insane. Someone spent time on this. This is incredible.
From Troop Respecter, this has been a point of contention on the internet. My review of Skinamarink, this is supposed to be a movie that emulates being a 90s kid having a sleepover, but there's several shots with the orange brick separator on the ground that wasn't introduced until 2011. Immersion ruined. Terrible film. Do you have a comment on?
So I don't know, because I remember someone in good fun, and by the way, all these historical inaccuracies, keep them coming, because I completely understand that it's all in good fun. It's just because they're rewatching the movie and like getting immersed in it. It doesn't hurt my feelings or anything. But I don't know if this was the person that DM'd me, because originally someone had DM'd me about the orange brick separator, and then it could be different Lego people, though, who noticed it. And I just figured, well, no one's going to notice. It's just Lego.
This next one is from Jen the Crow. A little 9 Inch Nails love down here. Me and my friend going to see Skinamarink for the second time. How are you tonight? You having a good time? Ready to party? Have fun? Well, that was the Last Guys. Wrong band. We're here to have a bad time. Synthesizer playing.
I love that, because, you know, there's lots of The best horror movies should kind of feel like a punch to the gut, and what's more Nine Inch Nails than that?
I'd like to move on to some fan questions. There are obviously a lot of questions surrounding Skinamarink, surrounding your career, Kyle, so we have a few of those here. You suck, Henry. Sorry, Henry, whoever you are. Does this movie draw from any personal, scary childhood stories?
It really does a lot. Really, the more I think about it, it draws from so many billions of different things. Or even the fact that we shot it in the house I grew up in and for a bit was afraid of the basement or afraid of even just the hallway outside my bedroom.
MXA Ghost would like to know, the trailer for the film is simple and scary. Why did you decide to make it that way? Was it hard to compact the movie into a short trailer?
It actually was surprisingly easy. So I watched a bunch of 70s, 1960s trailers. I tried to steer away from 80s ones because those ones are completely different and more snappy than 70s ones. So I just watched a bunch of those, and then I let that sit and say, okay, what are some things I might want to replicate? What are some things I don't? It wasn't that hard because if you steep yourself in horror movies and old horror movies, and God, I love old horror movies, then a lot of it just kind of came second nature. And yeah.
Heisenberg Delu 1 would like to know, I believe the movie is partially about the way we misinterpret our childhood memories. Did you intentionally misspell the name of the popular children's song as a way of sticking to that theme?
So that theme is kind of in the movie itself. So the way through dreams and ideas and reiterations, like if you tell a nightmare you had to your older sister when you're a kid, it comes out different to how it feels. All that kind of stuff is in the movie. But the misspelling, it was intentional, but that's not the reasoning. I didn't want kids to go on YouTube and try to find the children's song and get directed to this movie.
And this is the final one from Watch Aya Khan. I just want to know when we can expect his next film. Do you have any ideas of when or what that would look like?
I'm planning now, maybe start writing it in a few months, and then pre-production, hopefully we can start filming early 2024, and then release maybe later on in 2024, but we'll see. Hopefully my next movie will come out in 2024.
Well, that is incredibly exciting for all of us that are excited for your next movie. Kyle, thank you so much for your time today. Skinamarink is streaming on Shudder right now. Do not miss it.
Valiant adventurers once fought to bring peace to the realm of Farul and avenge a murdered king. But now, a new peril threatens its people. The once peaceful and benevolent queen has turned against her subjects, casting Farul into darkness and despair. The resistance is rising, and the fight for freedom has begun. Adventurers will travel far and wide to prevail. Victories will be hard fought, requiring strategy, strength, and courage. New alliances must be forged to bolster our ranks. The fate of Farul lies in the hands of the Resistance. The time to act is now. Will you join us, adventurer?
This is IGN FanFest 2023.
This journey doesn't have a real ending.
A celebration of all things gaming, movies, TV, and most importantly, you, the fans. For the next few hours, we'll be showing you never-before-seen gameplay from Street Fighter VI and Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Here we go.
Exclusive looks at HBO's The Last of Us, and the next season of Netflix's Shadow and Bone. And of course, getting answers to your burning questions from the superpowered stars of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and more.
What's it gonna be, Ant-Man?
But right now, FanFest kicks things off with a bang or two. Here's Keanu Reeves with an exclusive look at John Wick Chapter 4.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to need a gun.
I'm so excited to present this exclusive behind-the-scenes sneak peek of John Wick Chapter 4, only in theaters March 24th. I know a lot of you have many questions about the film, so I'll do my best to answer some of those too. Okay, first question. How does the body count in this film compare to the others? It compares very favorably. Did you have to learn any new combat techniques or skills for this one? Yes, I got to do, well, not new, but I got to do some more driving, and not just any ordinary driving. And I don't know if that's a combat technique, but it is in a John Wick film. And let's see what else. I got to do some nunchucks, learn some nunchucks, and hopefully got to the next level in some judo and jiu-jitsu. Yeah, so there's car fu, gun fu, and now sword fu. There's lots of fooling around. What was it like working with Lawrence Fishburne again? Oh man, Lawrence Fishburne is a legend. He's a beautiful man, beautiful spirit, and a remarkable artist. And it's such the relationship that he and John Wick have, the friendship, the understanding, the appreciation. I think, Lawrence is such a remarkable actor, and what he brings to the Bowery King is something extraordinary and special. And every time I get to, I don't know, we're friends personally, and so it's just really cool to get to know him and also just to act with him, because he's one of the greats. Well, I hope I answered your questions for this, and now I know I probably didn't answer your questions for this, but thank you for asking. And now please enjoy this exclusive behind-the-scenes sneak peek at John Wick Chapter 4. Thank you. We're here working on John Wick Chapter 4.
And so it begins.
We have all of that John Wick swag. Cars, the weapons, the jiu-jitsu. But with Chapter 4, we took it to another level.
Plan is out. John Wick movies are known for Keanu Reeves doing the stunts.
It's been about 12 weeks of training. It's new levels of action. Let's have nunchucks, which was challenging.
Keanu's attitude and the talent, whether it's handling a gun, how it reloads, it's compelling to see him do it.
You armed?
John Wick action asks just a little bit more, and you see the effort and the commitment from the team. Ian McShane's back with Lawrence Fishburne and Lance Reddick. And then we have Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Hiroyuki Sanada, Clancy Brown, Shamir Anderson, and the incredible Natalia Tena, Scott Adkins.
Fighting Keanu Reeves.
It's hard work, man.
And also we have Rina Sawayama.
You make it look easy, but it's not.
for Chapter 4. We wanted to bring the muscle cars back.
We really wanted to do something different.
We're gonna have the sequence around the Arc de Triomphe.
We tore all the doors off and lost the windshield. You're gonna do a reverse 180, and you gotta shoot a gun, and you gotta reload. He actually started getting too good in the car.
We're smashing people, hitting people. It's just amazing.
We've shot some stuff that pushes John Wick to the limit.
Have we gone too far?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Fan Fest. I'm Akeem Watson, and I'm joined by Damon Hatfield and Alex Stedman. Now, for the next 3 hours, we're bringing you a non-stop celebration of the biggest names in games and entertainment, and it's all powered by you, the fans.
We kick things off with Keanu Reeves and John Wick Chapter 4, but we are only getting started. FanFest 2023 is jam-packed with never-before-seen gameplay, trailers, and interviews with the people making the coolest stuff on Earth.
And we've got some awesome goodies for you as a thank you for watching. All throughout the show, we'll be giving away tons of free games. Keep an eye on the chat. We'll be dropping codes in there, but they're first come, first serve, so get them while you can.
Yes, now there are more chances to win game codes if you sign up for a free IGN Rewards account. And if you want free games every single month, along with other perks, subscribe to IGN Prime.
We'll be showing off a ton of games during FanFest, and if you want to add any to your Steam wishlist, you'll find them all on IGN's Steam page, where you can also watch FanFest.
All right, coming up, we've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor and the stars and creators of HBO's hit show The Last of Us. And after that, we've got Hogwarts Legacy, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, AEW Fight Forever, Creed 3, and so much more. But first, we've got a brand new look at the biggest fighting game of the year, Street Fighter 6. Let's check it out.
Gotta remember, a cornered animal is the most dangerous. Oh wow, someone just got turned into a hashtag.
What's up, everyone? My name is Mitchell Saltzman, and I'm joined by a very special guest. Thea Trinidad, also known as Zelina Vega, is a WWE superstar who holds the distinction of being a former WWE Women's Tag Team Champion and the first ever, and to this day, the only Queen of the Ring. But most relevant to today's particular segment, Thea Trinidad is the latest real-time commentator in Street Fighter 6. Welcome.
Thank you so much. That was a heck of an introduction. Love that.
Oh, thank you. First off, let's just talk about this awesome opportunity for you. How did you find yourself joining the commentary team of Street Fighter 6?
Well, that one came from a good friend of mine named Andrew, who asked me if I wanted to be a part of the project, which, to be honest, I thought he was kidding at first. I was like, you know, this is a dream of mine. Don't do this.
Don't play.
Don't play with my heart like that. But he was serious, and it was so cool to be a part of his team, and just I knew that I was representing for him too. So I was like, I have to bring it. If I'm going to do this and be a part of such a amazing brand, such as Street Fighter, something that I've loved since I was a kid, and the inspiration to my last name, I had to bring it. This is what a real fight looks like. It doesn't get any better than this.
Obviously, fighting games are a big part of your life. Tell us a little bit about your history with them, what your favorite ones are.
Oh my gosh, so I loved Mortal Kombat when I was a kid. Actually, my mom was the person to get me into this. So I remember one night, she put my brother and I to sleep, and where we were, it was right next to the living room, and I just heard like these noises, like fighting noises, and I was like, what is that? So I kind of peeked out and I saw my mom playing Mortal Kombat, and I was like, oh. So I went over to her and she's like, okay, you can play, just don't tell your dad. All right, come on. So that's how I started with Mortal Kombat. But I fell in love with Sindel. Actually, that was part of the inspiration for this hair. So Sindel was like my favorite in Mortal Kombat, and then Jade. And then I started cosplaying like pretty young. So it was just something that just evolved. Like I said, Mortal Kombat to then Street Fighter. I fell in love with Vega. I thought he was so cool. And yeah, it just evolved from there. This fight is getting mad personal, and I'm liking it.
So you've been a big part of WWE's popular YouTube channel, Up, Up, Down, Down, and it's a channel that I think means a lot for fans like me because we get a look at the people behind these larger-than-life characters through the lens of video games. But I wonder, what does Up, Up, Down, Down mean to you as a superstar?
It's amazing, honestly. And it's so cool because it's run by somebody who's such an amazing soul. Like, everybody loves Woods. Everybody loves him. And I feel like to have someone like him just in charge of something like that, it makes you just want to go in there and show out. Whether that's showing out in the way of like really trying hard in the video game because you want to win, or just doing it for the fans to see an extra side of you that they don't get to see all the time. And it gives us an outlet to just be ourselves. And he makes it just comfortable and okay to just be silly and nerdy and however we want to be that day. So it's really cool to just, especially like people who come up to me and are like, wow, I didn't know that you were actually good at Street Fighter. Okay, interesting. So, you know, or I'll get like random challenges on my like Instagram, like on my DMs, like a lot of people are like, okay, yeah, sure, you beat Kofi, but can you beat me? And I'm like, oh, you poor soul. So stuff like that.
Nice. Are there any other video game franchises? I know this is a big dream of yours to be part of Street Fighter.
Yes.
Any other video game franchises that are on kind of that bucket list that you'd love to be a part of?
So I actually really want to get into voice acting. Voice acting is something, yes, I love it. And like, I'm a huge fan of Naruto and Demon Slayer. And I'm just like, man, it would be amazing to have just a full circle of voicing a character and then cosplaying them in the ring. So whether that is for Street Fighter in the future, maybe, whether that's for Naruto Ninja Storm or for maybe a Demon Slayer game or something like that. But I would love to voice the character and then cosplay them. That's like my ultimate dream.
Time for some good old violence. This is how you stay limber. You gotta crack every last lid.
All right, well, Capcom was kind enough to provide us with a build for Street Fighter 6, and so, you know, we were hoping to get a little taste of some of that Thea Trinidad commentary. Would you mind commentating on a match between me and my buddy Kalani?
I would absolutely be down for it.
There he is right there.
God.
Look, from under the ring, Kalani appears.
I've been practicing down here.
Yeah,
I for this day.
I feel like I've done that in a Royal Rumble once before, and Hornswoggle might have been under the ring.
You know what? It works for you. It works for Kalani. He wasn't originally going to be part of the segment, and then we decided to write him in.
I'm hoping to still have that little Street Fighter 5 magic from before, Street Fighter 4 experience.
All right.
See if we can get through with it.
And then the winner is going to go up against Zelina, so there are some stakes here.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You feel ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, let's jump into it.
By all means. Ooh, where do we want to play?
Let's do the carrier. Normal.
Sounds good. Fly into battle.
Oh, okay. You're quick with that.
Oh my god.
You know what? I don't want Kalani to win, so we're going with Ken.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, I grew out the beard in preparation. You know, for in tribute to my boy Ryu.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
so naturally I'm not gonna pick Ryu.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Naturally,
I'll do Ryu. I'll do Ryu. I feel
I was
like
gonna say, it's some epic battle right here.
of course, yeah. The ultimate battle. You know,
I was gonna
Ryu and
say.
Ken.
It is the ultimate battle.
Might be on a sweatshirt or two.
One or two. A couple tattoos. You know.
Oh my gosh, look at this illustration. I'm still not over how amazing it looks.
Ah!
The gritting of the teeth and everything. Ooh. And the crap talking has already started.
Oh.
Oh no, it kind of seems like Ryu might have a little upper hand on you.
No.
No.
Oh my god, it's getting intense. It's getting intense.
It's just round one though.
Okay,
It's just round
okay.
one.
Round one.
He beat him, so I feel like there's something there.
Wow,
what do we just started off?
The audacity. Okay.
Hits him with it.
I'm trying to sneak up on you.
You know, I feel like Ryu's coming with the grit. Look at him. Oh, but don't sleep on my boy Ken. Let's go. Oh my god.
Bad punish, but good block.
Wow, look at that.
You win some, you lose some, but you gotta come back stronger.
Pass the baton to you. Please, avenge me.
So, full disclosure, we played some practice matches before the cameras were rolling. I think I still got to go with Ken. Like I don't want to, play a character that I need to play someone that I can actually win with. So,
Well, you know what? I feel like
I think I got to go with Ken.
Same thing for Jury though.
All right.
She's so cute. I can't get over how cute she is.
She really is one of the coolest like Street Fighter designs, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, especially ones that have come out in more recent memory since Street Fighter 4 at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her personality. Look at that. Look at her hair. She's so cute.
Nowhere to run.
Don't expect me to be a push hockey too.
I know. I love it. He knows his stuff.
There it
He
is.
knows
There it
his
is.
stuff.
All right, it's just round one. It's just round one. You see Guile? Yeah, I think you can see Guile there in the back. Oh, focus.
Oh,
I called it.
but
not focus.
again, look at that illustration, man. It's so good.
It really is good. Oh no, I think I got hit. Oh no, okay. So that's an install.
Me getting a little overzealous here. No, come on.
Oh no.
Don't you dare. Oh no.
Oh man. Well, it was an absolute honor and pleasure.
You know what? I'm trying not to be a sore loser, but it was. It was really cool.
All right, unfortunately, that is all the time we have. You can catch Thea Trinidad in Street Fighter 6 when it comes out on June 2nd, and you can catch Zelina Vega every Friday night on SmackDown. Zelina, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been awesome, and for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
Hi IGN FanFest, my name is Kyung Kim from Crunchyroll Games.
私は A プラスのプロデューサーの高島です。
We are the publishers bringing Street Fighter Duel, the first mobile RPG of the series, to the United States, Canada, Europe, and the Middle East, and more.
Hello, I'm Joseph from Topjoy, the developer of Street Fighter Duel. We are excited to work with Crunchyroll and A+ to publish the game, so more players can enjoy the Street Fighter game with a familiar experience on cell phone.
Today we are showing off the Versus Mode gameplay in a friendly publisher showdown. There will be many single player and multiplayer modes like this one, fun skill combo mechanics, and over 40 characters to collect at launch, with new skins dropping all the time. And now, back to the commentary.
前線にいる竜がブランカの攻撃を結構食らっちゃってますね。で、真空波動拳、いわゆるソニックで追い打ちしていきます。そして、竜がやられてベガが登場。彼らのサイコパワーを身にまとって相手を追い詰めます。飛行賞が出てますね。さあ、派手な必殺技が飛び交っています。記録の攻防、そしてここでブランカとチンの体力も残りわずか。そしてソニックとエロセージが相手を画面端に追い詰め、ダブルサマー決まった。そして残りローズ1人。さあ、逆転止めはなかったか。ここでノックダウン。
Thank you for tuning in. The pre-registrations are currently open, so if you haven't signed up already, please go register now.
IGN FanFest is brought to you by PlayStation 5, bringing you the extraordinary. Tune into IGN 1 on your smart TVs for the latest news on your favorite releases, gameplay exclusives, and all the entertainment you can handle.
Cinefix on IGN 1, your friendly Friday night home for film fanaticism.
You're watching The Weekly Fix, ready to fill you in on anything you may have missed in the world of gaming and entertainment.
Welcome to Should I Play This? This is what to watch here on IGN 1.
Find it all in one place for free on IGN 1.
They turned into a network. Who knew?
Let's go.
Wow, I can't wait to see Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. And there's tons more where that came from, so follow IGN on all social channels. We got video game previews, we got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, follow IGN.
Whoa! So you like IGN, huh? The news, the videos, the guides, and wikis, it's all in your wheelhouse. But do you ever wish there was more? Introducing IGN Plus, a brand new program that's loaded with tons of cool perks and benefits. Sign up for IGN Plus today and you'll unlock free games and in-game content every month, a free subscription to Map Genie Plus, huge discounts for stuff like Dream Gear, Power A, Humble Bundle, the IGN Store, and tons more. IGN Plus is just $29.99 a year for a limited time. You deserve a little extra.
I love Splinter Cell. Conviction, which is probably my least favorite in the mainline series, only because it's more of an action game than a stealth game.
But you're right, it is more actiony. And you know what? I like that, Ryan. I think it's cool to have big moments where you can execute everybody in a room.
It's not an action game.
You can bust in, execute everybody in a room
one
that
stupid
you've marked.
button. I had to stop
And it's
myself from
great.
pressing.
But if you want the Splinter Cell
Hey, look how
experience,
dumb that is.
it's awesome.
That was Valheim, coming soon to Xbox. Up next, Jedi Fallen Order showed players a dark period of Star Wars history, but ushered in a bright new era of Star Wars gaming. And this April, Cal Kestis is back in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Let's check it out.
Ryan McCaffrey here with IGN. I'm at Respawn Entertainment. We are checking out Star Wars Jedi Survivor all month long as part of IGN First. Jeff, you're design director for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
What are we checking out here? There's a lot going on in this game. We've played a lot of it. We'll be talking about it all month long. What particular section are we looking at here?
We're looking at a Jedi meditation chamber, which is one of the many types of side content that you can find while exploring one of our planets on Jedi Survivor.
Well, let's dive in here and take a look at it. So you want to there is a clear endpoint. And we're not going to reveal and ruin everything, but you're going to need to use your force powers, such as on this switch here, which moves this little rolling track along. And we're going to have to stack some knowledge together, right?
That's
figure
right.
This out?
Yeah, there's multiple things you can interact with the force in here. There's these batteries that you can plug in, and they create these bridges that allow you to traverse like large expanses of this area.
Is it fair to say this is a puzzle room of sorts?
Yeah, it's kind of a change of pace of gameplay for people that want to dive deep into puzzle type gameplay. We've got some puzzles along the main path as well, but for the people who really like puzzles and want to get some more of it, we've got meditation chambers for them.
And are these all optional, or is this we're looking at the first one in the game?
This is actually the first optional one. There is one on Critical Path.
Got it.
But this one you can stumble upon in one of our regions on our main planet, Kobo.
So first of all, you can say, art-wise, this is a very cool, distinct-looking place. How would you describe the artistic vibe here within the context of the Star Wars universe?
Well, these are ancient chambers. They've been around on this planet for hundreds of years, and it is a location where Jedi of the past would train and test their Jedi abilities.
All right, so we're going over here to this other side.
Another thing here is we have force echoes and scans where Cal can learn information about Jedi of the past who tried these challenges, maybe failed, maybe succeeded. Just characters in the past who were trying to hone their Jedi skills just like you are.
So this one isn't particularly platformy, but platforming is definitely a big element in Jedi Fallen Order. I suspect will probably be the case again in certain sections of Jedi Survivor. Is it fair to say that the different Jedi chambers will test different skills as you solve their puzzles?
Yeah, we have all of our types of gameplay mixed in within the puzzles, although puzzling's the primary aspect of these chambers. Cal's going to have to use his traversal abilities as well as his force abilities, maybe even combat abilities, to complete these different chambers.
It's fair to ask, are the rewards worth it for players? Because for some people, if you just get a new piece of outfit for Cal, like maybe I don't want to bother with the chamber. Yeah, but sometimes maybe the reward in certain things could be a skill point or something really tangible to your character. So, would you say that the Jedi chambers have pretty solid rewards in them?
Absolutely, yeah. One of our new types of rewards this game are called perks. So perks are abilities that you can slot in to the perk system, and they can actually change your gameplay, customize Cal's gameplay, mostly in combat. So we really wanted to focus on really tangible rewards this time for exploration. So yes, we're going to have lots of a deep cosmetic system to customize Cal, but also we want to be able to customize the gameplay style.
That was a quick look at the Jedi Chambers in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Don't miss our 9-minute gameplay video that we kicked off our IGN first month with, and for much more, stay tuned all month long to IGN.
That was a look at Star Wars Jedi Survivor, coming to PC and consoles this April. Up next, Netflix's original series Shadow and Bone returns later this year, but IGN FanFest is debuting the very first look at the Season 2 trailer right now. Check it out.
The Darkling has created an unkillable army made of shadow. Kerrigan damned this country into darkness. I have to destroy him. So good. You are Relena Starkov. Will you help us tear down the fold? Well, you couldn't do it with one amplifier. I need the power of all three. We must find Firebird and the Sea Whip. Take their power. Finish what you started. You with me? Always. Adventure. Danger. Now you're speaking my language. What nightmare have we gotten ourselves into? I didn't realize you were patriots. Well, if you die, we don't get paid.
I promised that you and I would change the world.
That is never going to happen. I'll destroy the only thing you have left. It is magic. You will not know what price it demands until it is too late.
Are you willing to sacrifice that which is most precious to you?
Wow, you just saw Netflix's Shadow and Bone. But right now, we're checking in from the quantum realm. As you can clearly see, we got like some top-notch, graphics here. With Marvel's smallest superhero, who is also the star of the biggest MCU movie of the year, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This is definitely the quantum realm. Is that what we're gonna call this thing that we're doing? We're just gonna call this a quantum.
I used to ask myself a lot of questions. Scott, you're at ex-con. How are you an Avenger? That doesn't make sense. But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Thank you, Spider-Man! I have a couple IGN fan questions, and I apologize in advance for this one, but it's from Brian. He asks, do you think the butt strategy would work on Kang?
It's a really, really good question.
The butt strategy? Have you heard of this?
No.
Forgive
I'm excited about it.
Forgive me, but why does an Ant-Man just shrink down so small, go up as...
Oh, right.
And then expand to big size and blow him up from the inside? Do you think that would work on Kang?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Why not?
Because he's smarter than that. Yeah, you wouldn't have it. Trust me, you wouldn't have it.
I don't think it would. I mean, this guy can go through multiple timelines. He's got serious powers. He's good. It seems like he could. He's a tough customer. Yeah.
What was it like to play a different version of Kang compared to He Who Remains, and how does Kang as a character differ from other past MCU villains?
Well, it's very similar to Scott Lang. They're both regular old guys. They just decided to do things quite differently. I became Kang the Conqueror. He became Ant-Man. All these characters have human qualities. It's all said and done. They are flesh and blood, human beings. It's that human being spirit that makes Kang quite different.
You're an Avenger. Have I killed you before?
What was the best part of working on the Ant-Man films?
I mean, to me, the best part of working on the Ant-Man films, which we've been doing for 8 or 9 years now, right, is this group of actors and taking the same actors through these 3 movies, expanding the cast through these 3 movies, and it is like a family, and now it's an extended family, and that includes Kang. Like, we've all been working together and telling this saga of this generational saga of this family of superheroes. That's been really rewarding.
This is an IGN fan question from Best of Catherine. What is your... Exactly.
Oh, I love Best of Catherine.
You know Best of Catherine?
Yeah, of course I know Best of Catherine.
I love that. Of course. Okay, so they ask, what is your funniest memory from on set?
Aw. Well, thanks, Best of Catherine. I hope you really liked the movie. One of my best memories on set? Oh, I got this one time when I got to be stature, like when I got really, really big, and I did like a football scream, like as if I just won a touchdown, and I felt so dumb, and then I felt awesome.
Oh boy, funniest. Somebody reminded me today that when we were filming is when I got that People magazine title. When I walked on set, Peyton had hooked up speakers everywhere and played "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye.
Oh no!
Really loud, and it was really quite embarrassing because then he gave me a microphone to address everybody.
What did you say?
Nothing of any value, or it wasn't funny. I didn't even remember, but I remember feeling horrified.
What was the most difficult part of filming this film?
Not cracking up when I was driving the spaceship with my hands down these, I don't know what they were, these tubes, these liquid tubes, pretending like I really knew what I was doing. And that was the most fun, and yet the most difficult was I had to keep a straight face.
The most difficult part of filming this thing, it probably was realizing the quantum realm, right? Because there's an extraordinary amount of physical effects and visual effects that go into making this thing feel real and tactile. That was probably the biggest challenge on this movie because 90% of it takes place in the quantum realm.
Who are you?
Just a man who's lost a lot of time, like you. But we can help each other with that.
All right, now we've got to take a very quick break, but when we return, HBO's gritty and violent adaptation of the hit Naughty Dog game, The Last of Us, has been making our Sunday nights tense and heartbreaking. But we found some people who might help us cope with it all. Joel and Ellie themselves, Pedro Pascal, and Bella Ramsey. And we'll be talking to them right after this break. IGN FanFest will be right back.
IGN FanFest is presented by TikTok. Share your favorite games and all the ways you play this February on TikTok using hashtag Let's Play.
Have you been stuck on the same quest for just way too long? I just want answers! IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help. IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and of course, free. You can even track your progress with handy checklists if you go for 100% just like we do.
We're gonna be going over some sensitive material.
IGN has the very best, most complete, and accurate guides for God of War Ragnarok, The Witcher 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Genshin Impact, Elden Ring, and so much more.
I will require some time to process this information.
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Don't try it!
Ow!
What the? And that's why we don't play in lava. You were the chosen one!
Wow, I love SpongeBob, and there's so much more where that came from, so follow IGN on all social channels. We've got video game previews, we've got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, what are you doing? Let's follow them.
Behind every game, movie, and TV show you love is a wild, crazy, and sometimes unbelievable story.
No one is just black and white.
From revealing the secrets behind your favorite franchises to solving a legendary video game mystery, I'm coming for you. IGN Inside Stories gives you a peek behind the curtain.
If people come to the game now and see what's going on there, I think they'll be surprised.
Join us as we dive into hyper-dedicated fan bases, worldwide phenomenons, and the most incredible untold tales in games and entertainment.
I said, wait a minute, that doesn't sound so good.
It was definitely not what I expected in the best way.
Inside Stories, available now only on IGN.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo.
HBO's The Last of Us is a smash hit and one of the best shows on TV right now, and a big part of that is thanks to the stars of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel and Ellie themselves, Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Welcome, thank you for joining us. The big finale of episode 5 is extremely bleak, but leading up to that, there's the incredible sort of Kansas City set piece. You've got snipers, you've got monsters, you've got trucks flipping over, you've got explosions. What was it like filming that sequence? How long did it take? What was the general sort of vibe like making that?
I loved that sequence. You hated it.
Hit it, Bella.
Well, it was 3 weeks of nights in the end, in Calgary. And the nights were actually, when did we shoot this? In like the spring? So the nights weren't even that long. They felt long, but they weren't that long. And we just, it was epic. I think that's a good word for it.
They were long enough.
Right. You barely did any. You did like
I
one or
know.
Yeah, Bella, you're like running around and dodging stuff, and Pedro, you're kind of just like sitting pretty up top.
I'm like perched up on the. That's right, perched up in the window and being like, "Ah, this is taking so long."
You're just sniping in a chair. Yeah, like that's that's.
There was no chair.
There was no chair.
No.
Oh,
It's very uncomfortable. I was on my knees.
I mean, those are preposterous working conditions. Obviously.
Correct.
But Bella, you're like, there's a sequence there where you're in a car and you're jumping over the seats and you're hiding under things, and there's a truck falls into a sinkhole full of monsters, and it's pure chaos. So you had to film this at night. There's fire everywhere. Was this stressful, or you said it was just fun? You're just having a great time the whole time? That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredibly stressful, but like in a way that felt amazing. Yeah, I mean, I got so many bruises. I actually got a real black eye at one point. The clickers are dragging like Lamar and Kivon Sam and Henry out from under the car, and I stab him the clicker and he dies. At one point, his as he was flailing around dying, during a take, he accidentally, the poor guy whacked me in the eye, and I was so proud of it. It was just, I had a great time.
Now this was shot over the course of like 11 months, all over Alberta, Canada, among other places. You have tons of awesome sort of outdoor locations. Was there, aside from that big nighttime set piece, were there any sort of sequences in the show that were just especially sort of breathtaking to be a part of?
Yeah, we were there for a year, as you say, and we used, we were on the mountain, by the river, on the lake, in the snow, in the rain, in the sun, on the prairie, on the set. It's hard to identify exactly like which one was more special than the next. They were all, equally challenging and wonderful. And it was always nice to get on the horse with Bella, especially if it was like a nice wide shot so that no one could bother us. We could like turn our mics off and have our conversations and ride the horse. Remember how unruly that one horse was in terms of getting into, and we would have to kind of like, he would be so ready for action, and he'd just have to kind of like spin around in circles. We just got used to it. We're like, all right, do your spin, and then action, and then he would just like walk the line.
Oh wow!
I remember that. That was his process.
Yeah.
Now, did you actually pick up any survival tips or I guess life hacks in the process of making the show with all that outdoor time?
I didn't learn anything. I refused to learn a thing. I learned that I wouldn't make it.
So as the season kind of unfolds, both of you really warm up to each other, and in fact almost exchange roles of caretaker here and there. How did you sort of develop that between the two of you? Because there's a lot of obviously like hesitance early on where you're keeping your distance and you're like, I don't really trust this person. But as a viewer, you really do pick up after a while, like you're developing a bond there. Was that something that came kind of naturally in making the show?
I mean, apart from the fact that we deeply despise each other, it was pretty good. Right?
You don't know what good acting is.
Girl.
Okay, so speaking of HBO, you're both Game of Thrones alums, but you kind of passed like ships in the night. How would your characters from that show, how would Leanna and Oberyn compare on a road trip through an unforgiving wasteland if they were stuck together? Like, how would that dynamic differ compared to Joel and Ellie?
I'll answer this question since she never watched the damn show. And, first of all, I'll tell you, Bella, that Lyanna Mormont and Oberyn Martell would be fucking besties.
Really? Good.
Oh,
with your
completely.
Swishy cape.
Exactly. Exactly. I'd be twirling my cape around, and you'd be just like, oh God, I love him.
Right.
People think of The Last of Us, they don't typically think musical, but it definitely kind of it goes that direction. No spoilers, but Joel and Ellie both perform songs in the second game, and they're sort of kind of allude to that in the season here. In the audition process, did you have to sing? Bella, you're quite musical, and Pedro, you regularly break out in song in interviews, from what I've seen.
If I had to sing a song for my audition, I would not be sitting here today.
What would you have sang that would have made it so specifically you wouldn't have gotten the job?
I guess if I had to choose a song, it would have been La Bamba.
I could see them being like, that doesn't really fit with what we're doing here, but...
Para bailar la bamba. Para bailar la bamba se necesita una poquita de gracia.
See?
You got the job.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, breaking out in song in yet another interview. Bella, what about you? I like Ellie plays the guitar, she sings. Is that something that we might see from you later on?
I mean, possibly. So I did a self-tape, and then I had a Zoom with Neil and Craig. and I made a point of positioning my laptop in a place in my room where my guitar was hanging up in the background, just so they know, just so they knew.
We got some questions from some fans who love the show. TW Last of Us on Twitter says, did you take anything from the set, something that you liked so much and you thought about taking it home? So he wants you to admit to a crime. Did you steal anything?
I don't think I did.
Oh, man.
Did you?
I don't think I did either. I did one thing, but I can't say.
What?
You heard me.
Can we get a hint?
Do I know about this?
Is it a crime?
Yeah, you know about it.
I have no idea. You're gonna have to text me after.
I love this. We get teases of secrets, but not the. I mean, that's sort of the problem with The Last of Us. It's not like, I don't know. It's not like being in like a epic fantasy show where you're like, ooh, I want a sword. It's like it's a bunch of really beat up stuff. Like everything's like kind of dilapidated. That's fair. Now, Chai Jarin says from Twitter, did you guys play any pranks on each other throughout filming? If so, what were they? I could see both of you doing that. That seems like the kind of thing that might have happened. Pedro, what about you?
You played a prank on me
What'd I do?
and Anna in
Oh,
episode.
yes. One time I scared the out of Bella and Anna Torv. They were being such little kids on the set while we were escaping the QZ, and they were so scared, and they had to go through this big tunnel, kind of like sewage, sort of like drainage kind of tunnel thing. And basically they were in there and being like, this is so spooky. And I took the opportunity to scare the out of them by going, whoa! And it echoed, and they screamed at the top of their lungs, and I hadn't been so happy in my entire life.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us. New episodes of The Last of Us air Sunday nights on HBO. Joel, Ellie, it's been a blast. Thanks a ton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hi there. Sorry to interrupt, but if you're a fan of PlayStation games like The Last of Us, you should come hang out with the rest of us here on Beyond, IGN's weekly PlayStation show. Every Tuesday, we break down everything going on in the world of gaming as it relates to PlayStation, talk about the biggest new and upcoming games, share our hopes, dreams, deepest secrets, and darkest fears, and have an all-around good time talking about games that you can play using a controller that has a triangle button on it. Catch us on IGN.com, YouTube.com/IGN Games, or in audio form on Stitcher. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest. Now, let's have a chat with The Last of Us showrunners Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. Enjoy.
We're gonna be brave, and we're gonna get out of this. Hey, let's go, come on. Get in.
Joel?
Denise, you get back inside the house! You lock your doors, now! Come on, get... Get your seatbelt on. Hold on.
Joining us now are the creators of HBO's The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, along with Gabriel Luna, who plays Tommy. Welcome to FanFest, guys.
Great to be here.
Hey. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Now, not to get too political right off the bat, but The Last of Us is all about mushrooms ruining everything, and I want to know what pizza topping would make for an even worse apocalypse.
I mean, pineapple, right?
Yeah. Well, pineapple with ham is obviously the worst combination ever.
Oh my God, I love you.
Yeah, no, I'm from New York, so
yeah.
No.
Oh, thank you. New Jersey. So
Look,
that makes me so happy.
I'm a pepperoni guy all the way, but last night I had a prosciutto and jalapeno, and it did have pineapples on it. Very few, but it did taste pretty good, man.
All right, so let's talk about that big, massive escape sequence in the first episode. It's The Last of Us game or show very much plays by like prison rules. You just kind of kick somebody's ass on the first day. Craig and Neil, can you kind of talk about what it was like adapting that from a physical, completely or virtual, completely CGI setup to making it physical in live action? And Gabriel, I guess, what it was like to actually be in a speeding truck going through a bomb to hell apocalypse in the making. Craig, let's start with you.
Well, my job was to try and recreate the feeling I had when I played the game. It wasn't so much about nailing all the specific things to make it look exactly the same, although the more we did it, the more we often did draw direct inspiration from the way the game looked. was really about creating the feeling. But when it came to creating tension, that to me is as much about performance. So looking at how Tommy and Joel and Sarah interact with each other as a family within the context of this impending doom, and then how they behave under these extraordinary circumstances. Just, it was exciting to watch. And all we really needed to do was try and instill people at home with the same terrifying feeling that I had the first time when I played the game.
What are we doing, Joe?
Neil, obviously, like, this is something you've already done this once. This isn't your first rodeo, so to speak. What was it like, kind of adding to that and really building on that whole escape sequence?
Yeah, I just remember a lot of brainstorming, outlining, and just saying what are the moments we want to keep, or where can we add something new? For example, the fake out with the car crash and the plane sequence, and then the big difference in execution from game versus live action is in game, those elements are much more compartmentalized. They could be done more in isolation, and like you could finish a whole part, like all the animation, and then move on to something else. Here you're working with all these different departments, so we would have months beforehand all these meetings of what should our infected look like, what are they wearing, how much do we show it, what kind of lighting do we want to have in this area. We were at Fort McLeod, where we took over a whole city block and transformed it into Texas, and then we said action, and just seeing like they're acting in that truck. There's a stunt driver on top of the truck that's driving it, and all the stunt people, the effects, everything is happening at once. So to be able to pull it off, it takes such a coordination of everybody. It was kind of incredible for me to watch.
And Gabriel, you've been involved in some gigantic productions before, but this felt just epic. There was an insane energy to the opening of this show. What was this like for you?
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, I've been involved in some large productions, and this one kind of topped them all in the sense that the everything was tangible. It was, you could see, smell, touch, taste, hear, everything was there. We spent a lot of time building these small stories, these little vignettes. I know Craig and Neil were just going mad trying to, not only having written this story, and that's with our protagonist, that we're following with our protagonist, but all of this multitude of other small stories being told.
We asked Bella and Pedro if they stole anything from set, and they both said no, although they could have been lying. But I want to extend the question to you guys. And no one's looking, no one's paying attention right now, so you won't get in trouble. But did any of you steal anything?
I did.
Oh,
but I did return it. But I stole Ellie's knife. And then the prop master contacted me. He's like, "Look, I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble. Please return it."
Give me my knife.
So I returned it, but he's gonna send it to me again. So I asked for two things. I asked for Joel's watch and Ellie's knife. So I'm still hopeful at some point I'm gonna get those.
Now, one of the decisions in the show was to sort of switch out the spores, which made sense, again, with the gameplay. There was, gas masks and stuff like that for tendrils, which, as like a huge horror fan, I absolutely loved. Just visually, I'd like to hear about how that art direction kind of came together.
We're in a genre that there's so many stories out there that one of the smart things Craig said very early on that I immediately latched onto was like, what else can we do to separate ourselves? That we already have the clickers, and now they stand out because the way they have echolocation, how they look, but the more recently infected are closer to zombies. So what can we do that's different? So we had many, many brainstorms and conversations about what could the vector be? What's another way they could do than just biting someone? And that's where eventually we looked at some concept art, whether you see like some tendril-like things growing under people's skins, and came up with this concept of like, oh, it's not about them being violent necessarily. It's about them wanting to transfer the cordyceps from one host to another. And then the biting is about creating an opening where one didn't exist, so they can insert these awful tendrils into you.
Yeah, this came out of also an early conversation that I had with a mycologist who is an expert on fungus. And what she was telling me was that there's something called mycelium. Those are these really thin filaments, these strands of fungus. And that is, in fact, what kind of goes through your veins, your circulatory system, and makes its way to your brain. And this is exactly how, for instance, cordyceps infects ants. And this was something that I don't think I'd ever seen before, at least not quite like this.
I found it to be a beautiful example of invisible VFX when you first see them. These filaments that Craig describes, the lighting, the way it hits it through the window, and the realism in the movement, and it was really exciting. It looked as physically real as something that subtle could, you know.
Did any of you pick up any any survival tips or life hacks, whether for it's like an actual wilderness or just everyday life? Any like tips, any like around the house suggestions, Craig?
Oh, I mean, I always tell people that if this happens and there's a fungal pandemic sweeping through the United States, I'm done, guys. I don't even think I'll make it out of my house.
I had that exact experience, Craig, when Neil sent me the remake, the PS5 remake, and I quickly turned on the permadeath mode, and I was like, I've beaten this game before. I know where things are. I'm gonna go ahead and try it this way, and literally died, man. Got hung up on a fence when you're trying to run into the barn, and you're following Tommy into the barn right before the cutaway.
Yeah, do your best to become an Ellie and tell some good pun jokes and find your Joel, because otherwise there's no surviving for me.
Nice. Now we got a question here from Swami MSN on Twitter. This is for Neil. Now that the show has arrived, do you think you need to write future Last of Us stories from both TV series and game perspective, or will you strictly stick to games? Are your future Last of Us stories impacted by this TV series? So that kind of really assuming you're making more Last of Us stuff right there. But
that is like a coded, is there Last of Us Part 3? No comment. I'll just say right now our focus is on we have the multiplayer game coming out, and we're going to reveal more of that later this year. Beyond that, it's the same process we've always had. We don't do something that we're not extremely passionate about. So unless we had a really good, compelling story to keep the story going, then it ends in part 2.
We didn't want to do gotcha journalism, so we thought we'd employ like a sacrificial fan and then try to no. Thank you all so much for joining us today. The show is fantastic. The audience loves it, and it's a huge hit. So congrats.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Experience the game that inspired it all. Whether you're playing through Joel and Ellie's journey for the first time or revisiting the classic again, The Last of Us Part 1 is available now on PlayStation 5 console and coming to PC on March 28th. IGN gave The Last of Us Part 1 a 9 out of 10, calling it a gorgeous and well-honed remake, so don't miss out. FanFest is presented by The Last of Us Part 1, available now on PS5, pre-purchase now on PC. Rated M for mature. Stick around, we'll be right back after this.
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You do what I say, when I say it.
I can handle myself.
It's called luck, and it is gonna run out. Do you even realize what your life means?
Rated M for mature.
PlayStation.
IGN FanFest is presented by The Last of Us Part 1, available on PS5 and PC, rated M for mature.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's actually my ringtone, and there's so much more where that came from. So follow IGN on all social platforms. We've got video game previews, we've got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, tap that follow button so I get paid.
The IGN Game of the Year for 2022 is Elden Ring, but I want to go ahead and talk about the IGN Game of the Year for 2023, which is, of course, Tears of the Kingdom. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Seth, Tears of the Kingdom doesn't come out for another 5 months. Well, I don't have to listen to you because you're not my dad. Tears of the Kingdom earned its title as IGN's 2023 Game of the Year basically the moment its 2023 release date was finalized.
Mr. Miyamoto, are we going to get a new Mario game next year? Oh, he's nodding yes!
Mr. Miyamoto, are we gonna get more DLC for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker?
Ooh, good question.
That would be wonderful.
Oh,
he's disappearing. Don't miss out on the chaos. Every Thursday, we get together to talk about all things Nintendo. Tune in and be part of the NVC family.
You're watching IGN FanFest 2023, a 2-day-long celebration of gaming and entertainment. If you missed any of the interviews so far, you can catch the highlights over on IGN's TikTok.
That's right, and coming up, we've got a solid hour-long block of DC superhero-centric interviews and trailers, including Shazam! Fury of the Gods and Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham.
And still to come is Creed 3, but right now we've got an exclusive trailer for the upcoming sci-fi game, The Invincible. Check it out.
I believe in mankind, in its unlimited possibilities. I believe in man, in its unwavering position on the top of the evolutionary pyramid. That is why I, wholeheartedly, having knowledge of our spectacular advancements, believe in the success of every interplanetary mission. They say per aspera ad astra, through hardship to the stars. And I add, because between the stars is our place.
Enough of this nonsense. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore.
All right, Yasna. Have it your way. You did everything you could. But even that wasn't enough.
Now, if you've ever wanted to watch Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu beat the crap out of a teenage boy trapped in an adult man's body, seek some help. But more importantly, you're probably pretty excited for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Now, to hold you over until it hits theaters, we talked with the cast about what we can expect from the superhero sequel. Take a look.
I just threw a truck at a dragon. I love my life.
Hello, I am Joshua Yale, and I am here with the cast of Shazam! Fury of the Gods. What's up, everyone? Yay! Oh, wow, what a welcome. I love that. So to start, I want to just get a sense of who all of you are and what this movie's actually about. So for our returning heroes, what can you tell us about where we find your characters when the sequel starts, and how do you feel about this new threat that arrives?
Billy's about to turn 18, and in the United States, you're an adult, you age out of the foster care system. It took him 14 years to finally find a family, and now 3 years later, he's freaking out that maybe he's going to lose that family. So that's a big thing. But then also, these guys have been stumbling through their superpowers for 3 years. They're all getting a little bit better at it, but like the teamwork still needs a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And so he, as the leader, is trying to keep everybody together for those purposes as well. And then these goddesses, not evil, not villain, goddess come down to, go ahead, now you can explain your part.
Yeah, well, we come here to avenge our father, and we are trying to bring balance. Yes, yes, which is very important.
Which have been stolen by these superheroes.
Oh, so that's what your characters are so furious about.
Yes, the Fury.
That's the Fury.
That's right.
Putting it together.
Yeah. We are furious.
We're a little peeved.
So what are your characters' names, these new goddesses? Like, what are their names? Like, what do they do?
My name is Hespera, and I have two sisters.
Calypso.
And Anthea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what threat do they pose? Like what kind of powers do they have?
Well, can you imagine gods coming down to Earth and with all of their strength and all of their power, and angry, as I say, angry, wanting to reclaim the powers that were stolen from them, so they can cause absolute havoc, and they do.
To give you specifics would be spoilers.
Well, there's certainly a lot of havoc in the
we
trailer.
break a couple, 2-3 things.
Yeah.
2-3 things we
Put
break.
it on my
That's
tab.
it. Invoice us.
Yeah.
And what's Freddy up to in the sequel?
Freddy is, well, as you'd imagine, I think that he's still kind of a aloof little goof. But he's kind of, developing or trying to develop a social set of ammunition. But also, he's still very much obsessed with his superhero aspect and is very obsessed with it and wants to harness those powers. But I don't know if he's doing it in the right way. So he's still got some lessons to learn, some mistakes to make in order to grow. And
don't we all?
Don't we all?
Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys. I was really nervous for that. Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Just think of aloof goof.
I do that.
Yeah, he does that.
He's like a rapper.
Sometimes it works out really well.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it gets me into big trouble.
So the IGN community is very excited for this. I have some fan questions I wanted to ask you. This one's from Wrighton, and he says, what's your favorite part of working on a DC movie?
I think you're kind of living every kid's dream.
Yeah.
We're living our own dreams, but also we're part of a world of escapism that a lot of people immerse themselves into to escape reality. And so getting to put on the suits and getting to really just go to set and play both with each other and just on a set with a bunch of magic. It's an incredible thing.
The kind of production it is, the size of the production, the kind of effort that's put into the production that probably does come out of the DC sort of world because people enjoy it so much. That's an amazing thing to sort of be a part of.
And I would also add that it's a very exciting time, I think, right now, because we made a really good first effort in Shazam, and I think. And I know I'm biased. I don't know how much more biased you can be if you're the titular character, but this second movie is even better than the first movie. It is, objectively, I think it is.
I think so too.
And I think that's really exciting. I think it's really exciting to be able to provide fans something like that, because a lot of times sequels, though they try as they might, they end up losing the essence of what made the first one special, and we did not do that. We maintained protecting that nugget of humor and heart and charm and everything that made the first one special. And we're able to get some more money in the budget this time, and then produce around that and make it, bigger and better, but not different in a way that loses touch with that.
Yeah, like The Godfather 2.
Yeah, like The Godfather 2, like Empire Strikes Back, or any other great sequel. But then even beyond that, though, I would say though that knowing that we've been able to make something that's really special, and knowing that our producer boss Peter Safran and James Gunn are now our new bosses, and they're wonderful and talented, and I think we get to be a really special part of the DC universe moving forward. That's all really cool. So, kudos to all of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Tom wants to know, who are your favorite superheroes growing up?
Ash?
Superman.
Yeah.
I grew up idolizing Superman ever since I was little.
Yeah. Rachel?
I was a Batman kid and an Iron Man kid.
Ooh.
I had the best of both worlds.
Does it make sense?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Batman was my favorite and still is my favorite. That's the answer.
I like Catwoman.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, okay.
Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was so good.
Yeah.
She was the bestest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably, honestly, it was probably an X-Men. I jumped around a lot in the X-Men world because I just loved the idea that they got their powers from their genes mutating, because it felt like the closest thing that could actually possibly happen in my life. Like I wasn't going to be around gamma radiation at any point, but maybe I was a mutant. Maybe I would somehow change, and in the middle of the night I would transform, and I'd wake up in the morning and I could fly. Never happened. But I will say, and again, this sounds kind of biased, but I think Shazam is such a great character. He's so unique. Most other superheroes are very serious and they're very brooding, and very rarely do you get. Peter Parker is the closest I can think of, which is like this, kind of naivete and a good heart, and they want to do good in the world, but they're kind of stumbling through it a little bit, and it's so fun. So I think me.
Shazam. Okay. So the last question I have for y'all is another fan question from Adam, who asks, what is everyone's favorite memory from working on this movie?
I have a good one, really good one. I'd love to share this one.
Get it.
I remember one time Helen got me in big bad trouble with the AD because I asked the RAD, great guy, Casey, and I'm very sorry again for doing this. But I asked him, I said, so we were on a platform about 6 or 7 feet above the ground, but there were mats around it, surrounding it, and I said, hey, will you be mad at me if when we're done shooting this, I jump off and jump on the mat because it just looked really fun, and I'm very...
Are you going to blame me for that?
What was your own doing?
I asked about it, but Helen told me, yeah, you should totally do it, and I was actually... Well, I'll say this, I was on the fence about it until you said, oh my God, totally do it. And so I said, that I have to do it. And I did it, and I got so chewed out. But not by her. She was laughing her ass off, and I felt so good about myself. It made up for the fact that I
have to say it was the best moment in the whole movie for me. Watching this boy launch himself, just like off the top of a building, not with the camera rolling or anything, just the pressure of it. He just put his arms out and everything. And I knew he was safe because there were all these mats down.
But also, I was a minor, and allegedly I could have gotten hurt.
They went ballistic, didn't they?
Which is bad, which is very irresponsible and bad of me.
Oh, wow.
I'm very funny and very
great. That's amazing.
Well, one came to mind, and that was after. It's just another Jack story, but
a few of those.
It was. We had a day where Anthea and Freddy and the Wizard have a scene together. And so Jack has a very fun dynamic with Jaimin Hansu, who's wonderful and we love very much. And Jaimin messed up his line on one of the takes, and Jack turned to him and said, "This is why you've been nominated for the Oscar and you never won." And I held my breath, like, oh my God. And then Jaimin cackled. He thought it was the most hysterical thing that's ever been said, and it was just where it was like, it was just like, you can't remember your lines, Jaimin. This is why you've been nominated for the Oscar and you never won. And then I was like, oh no. And then he thought it was really funny, and I also got to laugh because he got to laugh.
Why would I say that?
Why do you say half the things that you say, Jack?
I know. I should just.
It was wonderful talking to all of you. If the movie's half as fun as this interview, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait to see it.
The DC Elseworlds graphic novel, The Doom That Came to Gotham, had Batman facing Lovecraftian eldritch horrors in the Roaring 20s. And this year, it's being turned into a moving picture. And not only is it a talkie, it's in full color. If you don't think that's the cat's pajamas, well, you don't know your onions. Hop on the trolley, old sport. Get out of here.
Short party to Argo.
This is Argo. Go ahead.
Kylie, ready explosives.
Did you say explosives? I mean, sure, Mr. Wayne. How many?
All of them.
Woo! Hot dog! Nothing will get into or out of that cave ever again.
You sure sealing it off was wise? The scientific value of a prehistoric creature like the one you described
is far less than the danger it posed. That thing has infected the surrounding wildlife here with some sort of mutational agent. A virus that must have lain dormant for millennia. And it's quite possible it infected some of the Cobblepot party as well. So, whatever that creature was, Dick, it was meant to stay buried.
Sir, what about Cobblepot? Did you ever find him?
Cobblepot's gone.
That mix of comic and cosmic horror was Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham. Still to come, the cast of Creed 3, but right now, a quick break. IGN Fan Fest will return shortly.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by Company of Heroes 3, available February 23rd on PC. Tune into IGN 1 on your smart TVs for the latest news on your favorite releases, gameplay exclusives, and all the entertainment you can handle.
Cinefix on IGN 1, your friendly Friday night home for film fanaticism.
You're watching The Weekly Fix, ready to fill you in on anything you may have missed in the world of gaming and entertainment.
Welcome to Should I Play This?
This is what to watch here on IGN 1.
Find it all in one place for free on IGN 1.
They turned into a network. Who knew?
This is cool. It looks really appetizing, and I want to eat it. I'm sorry. It looks like a toffee apple or something.
Can we afford to give it to her?
No, I won't eat it. That's crazy.
Just the rest of my audience is so hard to hear.
Wow, I love Karen Gillan. She's amazing as Nebula, and you know there's so much more where that came from, so follow IGN on every social platform. We've got video game previews, we've got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, let's hit the follow button, or else I'll get fired.
6 years ago, while talking about Sonic on Game Scoop, Brian, you had this to say.
Real point where we need to admit that this was never really a great franchise.
Nope. Wow. It was never really a good franchise, huh, Brian? Well, I'm sorry. We're well over, believe it or not, 100 Sonic games, 2 movies, a long-running comic book series, and 6 shows. When you besmirch Sonic, you besmirch everyone associated with Sonic, okay, Brian? Brian, I want to present you with this.
I will hold that L. I was wrong. I have since come around on that character. I have watched the movies with my kid and enjoyed them immensely. Sonic Frontiers is fun. I liked Sonic Colors. I liked Sonic Generations. I liked Sonic Mania. Something we can all agree on is that Sonic has been good. It's Crash Bandicoot that's never been good.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
If you enjoyed that, check out full episodes of Beyond, IGN's PlayStation show, as we talk, argue, and goof on everything PlayStation. New episodes drop every Tuesday on IGN.com and IGN Games on YouTube.
I'm Jeffrey Vega, the host of IGN's TikTok, and TikTok is my favorite platform. I promise I'm not just saying that. There are so many different communities beyond gaming, entertainment, sports, music, lifestyle, just to name a few. And when they intersect, mwah! But given FanFest is a celebration of video games, which I love, I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to talk about my favorite gaming moments of TikTok in 2022. IGN FanFest is presented by TikTok, your unskippable destination for gaming entertainment. The gaming community on TikTok is always having a good time, whether it's creating new trends or using custom effects. In 2022, TikTok released this incredible arcane effect. Let's check it out.
This filter makes you look like a character from Arcane. Oh. I'm not Piltover's dog. Boom. Headshot.
Another effect that completely took over my feed was the Genshin Impact effect. For those who have seen this, and I'm sure many of you have, the sound alone is enough to make you smile. I have to admit, sometimes when my boss is talking to me, all I hear is do. It's actually becoming a real problem for me. But hey, moving on to another one of my favorite top gaming moments on TikTok, we had the opportunity to learn about Madeline Klein, the star of Glass Onion, and we wanted to find out what her Call of Duty username is. Let's check it out. It's what?
I like first-person shooter games. You chat No, because I don't have the headphones. You don't have the headphones? I don't have Do the you headphones. angrily type, you suck? No, actually, I just hear them talking over, like, to me when they don't know who I am. Is your username, is your handle a female name or? No, it's, no, wait, it is. It is. Don't tell us the name, but how'd you come up with it? It's my stripper name. Oh, no, have you ever given your stripper name in an interview before? No. Okay, good.
Okay, see, that's actually very smart not to reveal your username on a live stream. I mean, I wouldn't either. Although mine is technically just my full name, Jeffrey Vega. Oh, we can cut that out, right? Yeah? Okay, great. Moving on to more of my favorite gaming moments on TikTok, LA Gorillas have been helping us take our Warzone 2.0 game to the next level with tons of tips and tricks. We found their settings guide to be particularly helpful.
Turn off extra effects. Reducing visual clutter sharpens your game and helps us focus on important things. Prioritize interact. Loot items with a tap of a button so you're back in action faster.
I wish I had more time because I could do this all day, like Captain America. Sorry. But I want to know your picks, so share your favorite gaming moments on TikTok this February using the hashtag Let's Play. I will watch every single video that's tagged hashtag Let's Play, so get to it. I have all the time in the world. Where's my phone? I'm gonna start it right now, so do it.
Whoa! Now coming up next, Punch Club 2 is the upcoming boxing management game from Lazy Bear Games, and we've got some brand spanking new gameplay to show you. And if you need more footage of people getting hit in the head with heavy fists, we've got a 1-2 punch for you with Creed 3 coming up in just a bit. Take a look.
I need you to let go of your fear. Let go of the guilt. Let go of whatever was and walk into what is.
Hello fans, friends, and fighters. I am here in the ring, about to go a few rounds with the talent behind Creed 3. I'm not going to pretend they're not sitting right in front of me. Hello, Mr. Jonathan Majors, Ms. Tess Thompson, and Mr. Michael B. Jordan. It's a pleasure to speak to you. It does sound adversarial. I'm so sorry. I'm more, yes.
This is very exciting. That was the best intro in the world. Oh, let's go.
I know we said we're going a few rounds, but I'm in your corner. The questions are the ones we're going to knock out. So.
Ooh, bars.
Oh
man, this is what I'm talking about.
This feels great for me. Just all the fans out there, this is a highlight. Well, let's start. Firstly, Michael, obviously you are taking on the heavyweight job of being the star and the director, your directorial feature debut. What's that transition like for you? What's that going, and why now? What was it always a goal to be a director?
I think the idea of directing first got incepted in my brain right around the time I made Fruitvale Station with Ryan. I think it was the first time I actually saw a director my age that looked like me from a similar place, you know, conducting and directing a feature film, you know? And I think it didn't seem too far of a distant dream anymore when I was able to see it up close and personal.
That's what's up, man. Take it easy, man. We celebrating tonight then.
Can you not be late?
Don't even worry about that, man. Just answer your phone. Be safe, bro.
Yep.
So I think that seed started to, you know, grow over the years, and you know, telling a story of Adonis Creed and his family in that world is something that I knew very well, and I just felt comfortable doing it, you know, and obviously I felt protected. It's a talented cast, you know, obviously Tessa Thompson has been there from day one, and I felt protected in having very talented actors around me to help help me do my job as well. And having Jonathan come on board was a huge deal, and it was the perfect time.
I think it's hard for a lot of people who may not be in the industry because it's like you take on 2 jobs. Yep. For you, what is like the best elements of that and the more challenging elements of doing both those roles?
I think the most challenging elements is just time, being able to just be in one place to give it your full attention that it deserves and needs, and being able to cut and run to the next job and turn into something else. I think the cheat code that comes from acting and directing is being able to direct while you act, to be able to be in the middle of a scene and make subtle adjustments in blocking or movements or, a line to get certain reactions that I need, that I know I want on the other side. So those are like little, the little things that add up over the course of a film.
And is that something you could do from watching Ryan, or is that something that was a benefit of you being on camera for so long?
I think from being on camera for so long, but then also tapping into actor-directors, that I know have done that before, and actually took the guilt off of me. For not completely wearing one hat in a scene at any given point in time. So I think giving me the it's okay to watch a little bit. While you're in a scene without disrespecting your scene partner, I think was the balance that I managed in the beginning, but midway through, we fell into a rhythm and a groove.
Well, my next question.
Right? Yeah, go for it.
So I'm sorry, I was actually curious.
No, I love that.
Yeah,
no, that's perfect. No, but Tessa, obviously, you were the scene partner for the first 2 films and the third.
Yes.
And what's that transition for okay, so we're scene partners, and now you're telling me or guiding my performance in the third one. Yeah.
He didn't really guide me that much, honestly.
I just kind of show up and do my thing like I normally do.
No. I remember we were doing one scene, and it was like the 3rd take or something, and I finally realized that this is how he was calling cut. He'd be in the scene sort of doing this, and then very subtly he'd just go. And it was maybe the only, it was so good. I was like, I felt a tremendous amount of pride every day just because I love him. We've been on this journey for such a long time now. It's the culmination of so much of the work that he's done, and I think he's a born leader, and it's incredible to get to watch someone that you love and a good friend of yours do something that's a big swing and do it so well. So that was the thing that felt unique. I don't often feel just proud every day necessarily of my coworkers, but it was a good reminder that you ought to. When your coworkers are doing a good job, you should really feel pride.
Hey, my man, can I help you? Let me get an autograph. Nah, I ain't signing an autograph, but you get off my car. You don't remember me, huh? Damien.
Jonathan, now you are the newbie to the franchise. Did you have a relationship with the movies, the dynasty of these movies beforehand? How did you find yourself here?
I guess the anecdotes would be Creed 1, I joined a gym and made a playlist. And then Creed 2, I actually I was mentoring a group of young black actors at my drama school, and I grabbed all of them, and we had a field trip. Oh, man. And we all sat down and watched Creed 2, and then chatted afterwards about why it was important and diagnosing the work, in this scene, and all of that, you know what I mean? And so I looked up to the franchise, and consequently looked up to Mike as a younger actor. Saw in the film things that you kind of want in real life. It was great. You want to be an athlete, you want a cool girlfriend, you want all these things, you know what I mean? It was there it was right there in the movie, and then Creed 3 is a different ball game. Yeah. It's a different ball game, and it's a different approach. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially in our industry where you don't see this. You don't see this type of collaboration. Tessa beat us there. Her and Ruth Nega did a beautiful collaboration. But us as young black guys, the industry doesn't feed into that. But we did, and we've done it.
Glad to have you back out, huh?
I know I've been away a long time, but I kept myself in shape. I still got gas in the tank.
Come by the gym.
Thank you.
Since it is FanFest, we do have a few quick fan questions. Okay. So firstly, from what a username, @Sam98179078. Not the full digits, so he didn't dox himself.
Okay, cool.
But this one is to all of you. What's one thing you can say that the others did to make your job easier on the film?
I'd say Mike directed it. Made my job very easy.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, that's good. I would say
we know what you should say. After we just said that, you
Yeah,
should
you
say.
say they've always come prepared and never had to worry about them. Like they've already got it, you know. It's just trying to get variations of it. So I never had to worry about an actor in this movie, especially these two.
What do you think King Valkyrie would think of all this boxing drama?
Good question.
I think she'd love it. Are you kidding?
We'd be
Yeah.
her entertainment.
Yes, definitely.
Like-
Shirtless men, oiled up, together.
You were all a part of that MCU club. What is that? Feel an exclusive club?
Cool.
Do you guys share stories, advice of like people going into it, like what it was like for you each other?
We don't, do we? We haven't?
We have
Have
not.
we?
When we don't as of now.
I think I may have gotten a text message from something MCU and it was like, yo, Mike, look at this. You know what I mean? Like, this goes down on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like, not really.
Not really.
But yeah, you know.
After all the training on this film, Jonathan, will Kang be incorporating any right hooks into Ant-Man in Quantumania?
Kang on Kang.
Kang on
Yeah,
Kang?
man, so absolutely.
That's the
Absolutely.
answer.
Absolutely.
We've got Zonix from on IGN.com says, any plans for a Creed 4 or potentially a spin-off into this legacy?
Yes, sir.
Damn.
Yeah.
You were right there.
Yeah. Creed 4 for sure, definitely. You know, I just want to expand the Creed verse.
You just broke
within
the internet.
within reason.
You just broke
you
the
know, but yeah, definitely expect other things around Creed for sure.
Are you currently working on any anime projects that you can talk about?
I am working on current anime projects, and I cannot talk about them, unfortunately.
That is perfect.
But we will be talking to you guys soon.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, it has been a pleasure.
Bro.
It has been a pleasure speaking to all three of you. Thank you for joining us for FanFest. We can't wait to see the film. The fans are dying for it. And thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Great.
IGN FanFest is presented by TikTok. Share your favorite games and all the ways you play this February on TikTok using hashtag Let's Play. So you like IGN, huh? The news, the videos, the guides, and wikis, it's all in your wheelhouse. But do you ever wish there was more? Introducing IGN Plus, a brand new program that's loaded with tons of cool perks and benefits. Sign up for IGN Plus today and you'll unlock free games and in-game content every month, a free subscription to Map Genie Plus, huge discounts for stuff like Dream Gear, Power A, Humble Bundle, the IGN Store, and tons more. IGN Plus is just $29.99 a year for a limited time. You deserve a little extra.
And then he leaves it. He's gone. It's like they just cancel each other out. The story starts and ends in those two mid-credit scenes for Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, what if people left the theater? Yes, I know a lot of people know to not leave the theater for a Marvel movie, but sometimes people still leave and they don't know that that story happened. And what does this mean for the Sony Spider-Man universe? What is Tom Hardy's future in the MCU? Yes, Venom is in the MCU now because a little symbiote thing stayed on the desk with the guy who played Danny Rojas in Ted Lasso. And honestly, Spider-Man, are you even listening?
You can use that Spider-Man swinging filter right now on IGN's Instagram. And in fact, you should follow IGN on all social platforms because we have video game previews, we have celebrity moments, and so much more. So let's swing with Spider-Man and follow IGN.
Oh! Have you been stuck on the same quest for just way too long? I just want answers! IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help. IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and of course, free. You can even track your progress with handy checklists if you go for 100% just like we do.
We're gonna be going over some sensitive material.
IGN has the very best, most complete, and accurate guides for God of War Ragnarok, The Witcher 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Genshin Impact, Elden Ring, and so much more.
I will require some time to process this information.
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN.
FanFest is a celebration of all the things we love, from movies, TV, and of course, video games. As you may have heard, PlayStation 5 consoles are back in stock while supplies last, and there are tons of ways to take your gaming experience to the next level with it. Presented by PlayStation, bringing you the extraordinary. PS5 features lightning-fast loading with an ultra-high-speed SSD, deeper immersion with support for haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and 3D audio. On top of enhanced hardware, the latest generation of consoles also ushered in a renaissance of innovative controllers that allow players to discover a deeper, highly immersive gaming experience. PlayStation 5's DualSense and the brand new DualSense Edge are prime examples of how elevated these new accessories can get. Depending on which PS5 games you're playing, the DualSense wireless controller has the ability to bring all the on-screen action to life in the palms of your hands through features like haptic feedback and dynamic adaptive triggers which simulate environments, weapons, and in-game actions. Plus, you can chat with friends online with a built-in microphone that's all integrated into its iconic and comfortable design. The new DualSense Edge wireless controller allows you to perfect your gameplay by creating your own custom control setup to fit your unique playstyle. Built with high performance and personalization in mind, features like mappable back buttons, adjustable triggers, and changeable stick caps allow you to craft your experience so you can play your own way. Fans looking to get even more immersed in their favorite games can look forward to PSVR 2 launching on February 22nd. Escape into new worlds that feel, look, and sound real as virtual reality gaming takes a huge generational leap forward through features like 4K HDR visuals, headset feedback, eye tracking, 3D audio, and highly intuitive controls. Pair that with a Pulse 3D headset and you'll be able to create a deeply immersive experience with cutting-edge performance. PlayStation 5 and its accessories allow you to experience an all-new generation of PlayStation games, and if you're looking to expand your gaming horizons, check out PlayStation Plus to get access to hundreds of titles. There's 3 memberships to match your needs. The Essential membership lets you check out new games each month, exclusive discounts, and more. The Extra membership includes everything in the Essential membership, plus a huge game catalog including the Ubisoft Plus Classics library. Finally, the Premium membership gives you everything in the Essential and Extra memberships, plus game trials, the Classics catalog of great games from previous PlayStation generations, and tons more. Make sure to check out the PlayStation Plus Festival of Play, running through February 24th, to get access to a free online multiplayer weekend starting tomorrow and tons more bonuses. You can win digital collectibles by completing new PS Star challenges, enter in esports tournaments for a chance to win 3 months of PlayStation Plus, and dive into your next adventure when Horizon Forbidden West joins the game catalog for Extra and Premium members on February 21st. Or if you'd rather face the fury of the gods, you can try God of War Ragnarok right now as a game trial available for Premium members. On top of all that, PS Plus subscribers get double the regular discount on PS Store purchases from February 15th through the 1st of March. Get 60% off games like FIFA 23 and Gotham Knights and half off The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. 2023 is shaping up to be a huge year for PlayStation fans. Stay tuned for more FanFest goodness, and for everything else PlayStation 5, you're already in the right place. IGN.
Hey, welcome back to IGN Fan Fest. Now, based on the title alone, bare butt boxing sounds pretty self-explanatory, but turns out it's actually even weirder than the name implies. Now, let's check out Bare Butt Boxing, the free-for-all party brawler on PC and consoles.
That was a look at bare butt boxing right here on IGN's Fully Clothed FanFest. Up next, a game that involves some roughhousing where everyone's rear end is discreetly covered with clothing of some variety, but don't worry, there are plenty of folks involved who just refuse to wear shirts. Here's an exclusive look at AEW Fight Forever with some larger-than-life help from AEW wrestlers Evil Uno, Danhausen, and Nyla Rose.
This bout is set for one fall.
Man, this should be one hell of a singles match.
Introducing the champion, Hangman Adam Page. Introducing the challenger, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Well, I didn't watch it with a stopwatch, Tony, but what happened at the end is that Hangman Adam Page landed that buckshot lariat And had he had about 5 extra seconds, we wouldn't be having this rematch here tonight. Choice! Oh, he cracked and burned! Hangman Adam Page. No man's land. Oh! Never looked. Danielson. Oh, wait a second. Here it comes. Hangman Adam Page. Buckshot once again avoided. Psycho knee. Fighting their asses up. Backdrop driver! Danielson's avoided two previous times. Not inside out. Guts and cradle, guts and all. Yes! And the champion retains. What a hell of a contest.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mitchell Saltzman, and I am about to be joined by 3 very special guests to talk all about AEW. First up, he hails from someplace far away, claiming to stand at 6 feet, 7 inches tall, and weigh over 300 pounds. He is very nice, very evil, Danhausen! And now from Washington, D.C., the native beast, Nyla Rose. Your Dan has the wall. And finally, representing the Dark Order, Evil Uno.
Join the Dark Order.
So obviously AEW is getting their first video game in AEW Fight Forever. I got to play a little bit of it at Gamescom last year, and as someone who really grew up on those old N64 wrestling games, I had a great time with it, but I wanted to turn it over to you all and get your thoughts on it. Uno, how are you feeling about the game as we get closer to launch?
I'm actually very happy with it. I was also at Gamescom, and I had an extensive time with it because I was at the booth. And so every moment that we weren't actually doing interviews, I was playing the video game. And I've played some of the builds after since then, and it's very reminiscent of the old N64 engine games that everyone knows about. You know, when I popped into it, there was a tutorial. I never read a single word, and I instantly knew the buttons. Like, left bumper felt natural. It had to be the block on move, and it was. Right bumper was on strikes. Everything that felt... It felt perfect to what I had played on the N64, and it just seems like the type of game that you can just pick up and play and have a ton of fun with. Sure.
There's even the thing where you hold down the block button when you're on the ground and getting up, and you can kind of like
kneeling stance.
Yeah, you take that kneeling stance and do like a little clothesline. It's awesome.
Yeah, they have the tackle shoulder shrug as well. If you've played a lot of those games, that's all in there.
All right, well, you guys are here on IGN. We do video games. You guys do wrestling, and there are times when those two worlds collide in some non-traditional wrestling games. So we wanted to play a little bit of a game. I've got a series of clips from a bunch of games that feature some takes on pro wrestling, and we're gonna have you react to them and make up your own score from 1 to 10 based on really whatever you want. You guys can decide the criteria. You don't have to go on the IGN scale. Just, you know, you guys can just do whatever you want. So yeah, let's roll the first clip. Judas Effect.
Yes, Judas Effect.
Into
a wall.
And that is, of course, from Yakuza 0.
Okay.
Let's start with Danhausen. What are you giving Yakuza 0 here?
6 7/8.
Okay.
There was no groin punching. So I didn't think it was quite effective. I thought it was okay.
I should have picked another Yakuza clip because there's definitely some groin punching in that game.
Wow.
Plenty of it.
Perhaps next time.
What you got, Nyla?
With the fact of how bonkers that sequence was. Judas Effect, highly effective right out the gate. Yep. Follow that up with a German suplex into a brick wall, damaging the occipital lobe, then into kind of like a pancake slam on the concrete. I'm gonna give that 5. Holy
S's.
Whoa.
That's a halo over some poop.
Those are ships.
Yes. So 5 holy S's.
Only 3 with wings though.
Only 3 with, because they look like Dracula wings.
Yeah.
I'm not an artist.
Got it.
I
And
see,
Uno,
I
what
see.
did you get?
Well, your whole preamble was exactly what mine was going to be. So I went with "Don't do this to me" out of 10. The Judas effect is a pointed elbow to the jaw, and I would never want to take a German suplex in a ring, let alone against the wall. So, way to go, Yakuza.
All right,
you scare me.
It's only gonna get crazier from there. So
love it.
let's check out the second clip.
So that's like a judo throw
Into a back body
super-
drop.
Belly to back
Okay,
hold,
okay.
belly
Into
to
a
back
German.
hold.
Good. I can't.
Uno's
even
probably
keep
not
up.
gonna like it because it's another German suplex.
There's a power bomb, big
Oh,
swing.
yeah.
This, by the way, can make you tap out.
Yes.
Yes.
You know this.
Yes.
It's been established
Okay.
recently.
Okay.
All right, Uno, let's start with you this time.
Okay, so I reviewed the footage, and there's a lot in there. We've got a belly back hold, we've got a German hold, we've got a power bomb. But most effective of all was that better than Claudio's big swing out of 10.
Dang, he does a pretty good big swing. So
He does, but not nearly as good as King, it would seem.
I like the release on it.
Yeah.
But yes, for all of that, big fan of the power bomb, as you know. For those who may not be familiar, we have a wrestler on our roster, Serpentico, bane of my existence. I just loved how that was all put together. I'm gonna give this a "someone please do this" to Serpentico out of 10.
Oh, I'd like
Dang,
to also vote for that
Yes.
while we're at it.
I think we got a question about Serpentico later on, so a little tease to that.
I gave it 4 Bart Simpson spikes out of 5. This looks like Lester. I thought it was pretty good. So 4 out of 5.
Wow.
Bart Simpson's hair spikes.
All right, let's move on to clip number 3. Def Jam,
choice.
Fight for New York. Now, the life bar says magic, but don't be fooled, that's actually Busta Rhymes.
That's what I was thinking. Oh man, if you hadn't said it, I would have.
All right, let's start with you, Uno. I'm very curious what you're writing there.
Well, you want us to review wrestling moves, and I think we have a more pressing thing to talk about. I'm pretty certain that guy died when his head hit the cement on that first move. Everything else afterwards, offensive. That's a corpse you're swinging.
Yeah. Perfectly good corpse.
Oh, yeah?
Waste.
And if he didn't, he definitely got an infection shortly thereafter from
Yes.
the pizza stain on that greasy box. I just went some Killer Instinct because that's what Busta Rhymes, Mr. The Rhymes, showed when he threw him groin first on the eyeballs on the greasy pizza stain with an ultra.
I think we should remake this game with Eddie Kingston in it.
You know what?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I think he'd be the champion.
I think you got a pitch there. So right now on IGN, we're saying Def Jam remake with Eddie Kingston.
Great boy from New York.
Yes.
Slim J too.
From
Let's put
Yonkers.
Slim J in.
All right, well, that was fun. I feel like we got a bunch of Wikipedia entries for Bryan Danielson. We got a pitch for a new Def Jam game. But this is called FanFest, and we had some fans send in some questions. We were wondering if you guys could answer them. Crushermania 1592 says, for all, what wrestling game would you consider a huge impact of your childhood and teen years?
Oh, I played so much No Mercy 64 when I was young, and then eventually got a imported N64 so I could play Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, and that's the one I've been playing better part of 20 years now. Very, very big part of my childhood and my adulthood as well.
For me, I think we talked about this briefly, but Power Move Pro Wrestling on the PS1. Not little low key out there, but that was my kind of go-to for a while, and then eventually the No Mercies and things like that. But yeah, my little group of friends, we stayed on the wrestling games.
Danhausen?
Yeah, I think lots and lots of No Mercy with pizza. You know? You do some pizza, you do some No Mercies. That's a pretty good time.
Some Smash Bros. 64 maybe?
Yeah, that's not a wrestling game now.
Yeah, but what kind of No Mercy party is it without Smash Bros?
GoldenEye too.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
Yes, I always pictured you as a Simpson wrestling guy.
I heard it was terrible. I never
It is
played
bad.
it.
It's very bad.
Never played it. Hit and Run, on the other hand, that's
Very good.
Great
Hit and
wrestling
Run.
game.
Yes. Let's just talk about Hit and Run.
Remake,
This is what
Hit and
remaining
Run.
in the time.
Simpsons Hit and Run, great wrestling game. That's my number one.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is something I'm very curious about. At Runaway Rabbit asks, Danhausen, what is your favorite part of the Ratatouille game for the PlayStation 2?
The bonus games afterwards. It's like slides. You have to do slides, you have to jump to the next slide, you have to make sure you're jumping over obstacles. It is wonderful.
And this is the world that you want to live in as an NPC.
Yeah, there's like cupcakes and everything is a different type of level. Some's dessert levels, some is spaghetti, some is soup. But it is a great time. Go out, get yourself a PS2 and get Ratatouille for the system.
All right. Well, we got one more question from Peter Jam at Illustrious Pete, who writes, besides Kenny Omega, has any other talent given input during Fight Forever's development? The AEW roster is full of big-time gamers, and your input would be super valuable.
So I know Kenny Omega is in the lead position for creative decisions on this game, and he's been very hands-on. Early on, when we knew about the project, he sat down with a lot of us on the roster. Yeah. I had several meetings with him, and he had taken down what I thought the game should be, what kind of stuff from newer games should we try to abolish from the systems. We had pretty heavy discussions on stamina bar systems and so on and so forth. Obviously, that was early on. It would be kind of silly to do it more recently. You don't want to switch a game this late in, but he definitely did ask for opinions early on.
That, unfortunately, is all the time we have for today. Danhausen, Nyla, Uno, thank you all so much for joining us. We're excited for AEW Fight Forever. Hopefully you are too. And make sure to catch AEW Dynamite every Wednesday on TBS, Rampage on Fridays, and you know what? For all these guys, check out AEW Arcade on YouTube and Twitch as well. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN. Bye-bye. Everyone is stealing my salute and I don't like it. I want to leave.
IGN FanFest is brought to you by PlayStation 5, bringing you the extraordinary. Tune into IGN 1 on your smart TVs for the latest news on your favorite releases, gameplay exclusives, and all the entertainment you can handle.
Cinefix on IGN 1, your friendly Friday night home for film fanaticism.
You're watching The Weekly Fix, ready to fill you in on anything you may have missed in the world of gaming and entertainment.
Welcome to Should I Play This? This is what to watch here on IGN 1.
Find it all in one place for free on IGN 1.
They turned into a network. Who knew?
Let's go!
Wow, I can't wait to see Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. And there's tons more where that came from, so follow IGN on all social channels. We got video game previews, we got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, follow IGN. Whoa!
So you like IGN, huh? The news, the videos, the guides, and wikis, it's all in your wheelhouse. But do you ever wish there was more? Introducing IGN Plus, a brand new program that's loaded with tons of cool perks and benefits. Sign up for IGN Plus today and you'll unlock free games and in-game content every month, a free subscription to Map Genie Plus, huge discounts for stuff like Dream Gear, Power A, Humble Bundle, the IGN Store, and tons more. IGN Plus is just $29.99 a year for a limited time. You deserve a little extra.
I love Splinter Cell. Conviction, which is probably my least favorite in the mainline series, only because it's more of an action game than a stealth game.
But you're right, it is more actiony. And you know what? I like that, Ryan. I think it's cool to have big moments where you can execute everybody in a room.
It's not an action game.
You can bust in, execute everybody in a room
with one
that you've marked.
I had to stop myself from cursing.
But if you want the Splinter Cell
look
experience,
how dumb that is.
It's awesome.
Get ready for the Newtonian flow.
Let me show you how it's done.
Let's go.
Whoa, that's pretty trippy. Now we're talking. Turn it on.
This is my jam.
Hey, welcome back. Now, this is IGN Fan Fest, a celebration of all things gaming, entertainment, and you, the fans. Now, remember, we're giving away a ton of free game codes in the chat over the course of the show, so keep your eyes peeled and you might snag one.
If you missed any of our earlier interviews, remember you can catch bite-sized versions over on IGN's TikTok. And if you want to wishlist any of the games being shown off during FanFest, you can find them all on IGN's Steam page.
All right, now, as any pig farmer or veterinary dermatologist can attest, one skin disorder has had a widespread and lasting effect on the pork industry, unlike any other. And it was only a matter of time until someone dedicated an entire video game to the legacy of Hogwarts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's about a British private school for child wizards, but you don't have to take my word for it. We got to chat with the game director for Hogwarts Legacy. Take a look.
Become the witch or wizard you want to be as you leave your unique mark on the wizarding world. Here, in Hogwarts Legacy.
What's up, wizards, witches, and muggles? I'm Damon Hadfield, and I'm here with Alan Tu, the game director on Hogwarts Legacy. Welcome to IGN FanFest.
Hi, happy to be here.
So how does it feel to finally have this game out in the wild?
It feels a little bit surreal. We've been working on this for a really long time. Yeah, but I'm kind of in proud papa mode. I'm really happy with the team, and this was a real labor of love for us to the fans, and so it's kind of an exciting to finally see them be able to interact with it and to start kind of like seeing what the reaction is from everybody that we made this for.
Yeah, I can imagine. So Hogwarts Legacy takes place in the late 1800s, which is as far back as we've seen a story go in the wizarding world. What are the most notable ways the game expands on the lore of this world?
I'd say right up front, people are going to notice the different faculty, different students. There are some familiar faces just because of the nature of the property. So, Nearly Headless Nick or the Red Baron, like different ghosts from the environment. Peeves is in the castle, so fans can look forward to seeing Peeves, who didn't appear in the movies but was in the books, a poltergeist that haunts the school. I'd say the biggest difference is Headmaster Black. I think we were a little bit mischievous in choosing this time period. We're all familiar with Dumbledore being kind of like the kind figure at Hogwarts that kind of takes Harry under his wing at really important moments. And Headmaster Black is almost the polar opposite of Dumbledore. He's voiced by Simon Pegg, and he's known in lore as the least popular headmaster the school has ever had. And we just said, okay, that sounds fun. Let's put it in that time.
So while the game is set long before the mainline Harry Potter series, it's actually only about 30 years before the Fantastic Beasts series. Are there any references to those movies in the game?
Not specifically, although there are lots of creatures. Like basically the different ways that those movies expanded lore, we tried to embrace all those elements because anything that we could do to kind of create touch points of authenticity, but then also be able to interact with things that you've seen in any of the work in the wizarding world was something that we wholeheartedly embraced.
Well, since this is FanFest, we sent out some owls, and they've brought back a few questions from our audience. Starting off with a question from Jartasm. In the game, you kill countless people and creatures. How are you still a good guy?
I think, like other video games, there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief. We're really keen to make sure that who the bad guys are definitely feel like the bad guys, and they're the only ones that you're engaging with combat in. We obviously venture into unforgivable curses, and for us it was just important for that to feel a little bit different. So there are things that kind of soften the blow of combat in our game, like the way that bodies kind of wisp away or that type of thing. But they kind of fit within what fans will know from other games. But I think with Unforgivable Curses in particular, it was really important for us to make sure that fans could dabble with it, that they could experiment with what that meant, and then they're handled with a lot of care in the quest structure, just to make sure that the gravity of them and the feeling of them felt correct according to the world. So I think whatever you experience maybe fits within the normal range of games, but when you dabble into the Unforgivable Curses, we try to make sure that the world was reflecting back the way you would expect it to, given the gravity of those spells.
Sure. And Del Treasure asks, what is your favorite area in the game?
I really adore the common rooms. Some of them have never been seen before. And there's something about, I'm a proud Ravenclaw, and so I've got my Ravenclaw pride. If you catch me, I'll go straight to, I am a Ravenclaw, and I get to my common room and I love it. But I played the game as every house, and whenever I imagine coming in, each one has something kind of special and unique about it. And every single time I come to the common room in the game, the music hits you. We designed special music for each location. There's like a certain nostalgia that it hits, a certain magic that it hits, and as you sit in there and you kind of go, oh, I'm finally here. It's kind of an incredible feeling.
Yeah. So, players in Hogwarts Legacy each get their very own room of requirement to do with as they will. As you shared with us a look at yours, we've been digging through it, and we'd like to ask you a little bit about it.
Okay. So in my room of requirement, I wound up discovering the importance of lights, if you're going with a dark setting, but also the power of lights. So even though the daylight stuff is very naturally, intuitively likable, I love being able to highlight different things with the lamps in the setup. And coming in, I really wanted like a big centerpiece that would kind of catch your eye, which is the unicorn right up front. And then as I go along, you'll see on the right side, I tried to set up sort of like a gaming corner. That's more of a vibe place. Here we've got the desk of description, which is how you identify different kind of unknown gear throughout the course of the game. You'll keep coming back to the room of requirement in order to figure out exactly what the gear that you've earned in the game does. But I wanted that to feel like a real study area. In the loom area, I wanted a real kind of, that's where you're kind of tweaking your gear. So I wanted kind of like this fashion thing. I've got the little, I don't know what they're called, the little thing that kind of like hides you privacy, and the panels, and then the mannequins. And then this was sort of my lounge area where everything's just kind of chill, and you can see the animating portraits on the walls that I put up. And all that was just to kind of like vibe out. There are different vivariums that will unlock over the course of the game that you wind up bringing your magical creatures to.
Well, it seems like there's a real incredible attention to detail. How much of the space is customizable, and how do players go about, filling that space?
Yeah, the space, like the floors, the walls, all those have different kind of presets that are immediately accessible. So you can change the ceiling, change the lighting in the room, and get a different look right away. And then all of the objects inside of it that you can hang on the walls, the banners, the carpeting, and the different objects that you see inside of it can all be scaled and placed and put wherever you want. In the game, we have, I think in development, we refer to them as recipes, conjuration recipes, but I think in the game, they're forward-facing as spellcrafts. Those are things that you earn a few different ways. There's a shop called Tomes and Scrolls in Hogsmeade where you can purchase different conjurations. A lot of those are really focused on practical items though, which you're seeing right here. These are the different planter tables where you're growing different seeds for magical plants that can be used either as potion ingredients or even in combat. But a bunch of the other spellcrafts for the decorations, those are things that you will discover in something that we call either as rewards for completing your field guide or things that we call collection chests in the game, which we kind of keep track of on your map as you're going through the game. There are a few different types of collections too. It's kind of a nice tip for everybody that not all the collection chests are tracked. There are a few conjurations that you can find in each of the vivariums. I think each of the vivariums are hiding 3 collection chests in each of them. And then there's also a kind of special event out in the Highlands where you can track these kind of magical butterflies through the environment that also lead to conjuration chests. But I feel like that's useful for folks to know because we track everything but those.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're seeing a lot of craftable and consumable potions in there. What would you say is the best way to optimize the room of requirement for use as a resource during gameplay?
Yeah, I feel like that varies a little bit. This one you'll see like a little bit between aesthetic and usage, but I've got all the plants, which many of them feed into the potions on the right. And a lot of that is just kind of, we have small planter tables, we've got medium planters, and we've got large planters, and different seeds fit in different things. But mostly there's a limit to the number you can have, and then the players can earn enough money to kind of buy planter tables of different sizes. So to begin with, you might have one just with like 3, but they can get up to sizes of 5 for small planter tables. And then that's just an increasing cost. So it's kind of up to gamers how they want to approach it. If they really just kind of want to ramp up their production quickly, they can go with the increasing sized ones, or if they're a little bit like me, I save and just go straight for the big planter tables.
Like you're providing some real pro tips here.
Yeah.
Like straight from the game director. As for the beasts, how important is it to play with various beasts, interact with them throughout the game?
Interacting with them, playing with them, that's how you gather beast byproducts, things like feathers and different things. So you always want to, whenever you come in, you'll want to feed and brush your beasts, you play with them. You can see this kind of play, the little fella, we had a little accident in there as we're moving the stuff around. But over each of the creatures, you'll see kind of like a heart and the knife and fork there, and that represents whether or not they're well fed and happy. And so you'll brush them and you will feed them whenever you enter, and each time you do that, you'll be able to extract another byproduct. And there's a timer that sits on them before you might do it again, just so that you're not just kind of sitting there hammering on it. And you also have reasons to return back. But yeah, that simple task of just kind of brushing and feeding is how you wind up getting the resources you need to feed into the loom.
Well, it looks like that's about all the time we have here. Thank you again, Alan, for stopping by, chatting Hogwarts Legacy and all things Wizarding World with us. You can play Hogwarts Legacy now on Xbox Series X and S, PC and PlayStation 5, and later this year on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Wow. Now that was Hogwarts Legacy, available right now on PC and consoles. Now up next, we've got some brand spanking new trailers from some hot new games. Now I could describe them to you, but what's the fun in that? It's called spoilers. Just roll the trailers, please. Go ahead, go.
Be the costume girl who sadly was found dead shortly after.
Okay. Hello?
Oscillating optoelectronics.
Boom!
I promise you.
Holly, I am in fact Patrick Bannon, am I not?
Yes, but.
Hello?
Oh, you're awake. Good. Come closer. Let's talk. My name is Greybones, and you have reached the Nexus, the last safe haven of our world, thanks to the light of the Vita tree. See, you recently died, unfortunately. But you were given a second existence here, in the plane of memory. The plane for millennia has been like a paradise for all its inhabitants. But that changed recently. Asim, whom you met, is the current Yellow Guardian. Donovan was the Red Guardian. But he betrayed us. He developed corrupted powers and started wreaking havoc in the plane. See, we need help bringing back peace and lighting the pillars back up. But to do so, we need another guardian. And this is where you come in. You are what we call a Lux. Someone who arrived at the plane while a guardian had fallen. We need you.
Welcome aboard the SDF Catalina, where I, Princess Euphora, Captain and Last Regent, will gather survivors and lead our people to safety. Pursued by a relentless enemy with no place to call home, our only option is escape. There's much to be done, and we need your help. To rebuild, we need resources, teamwork, and bravery. Our engineers see to the repairs, and our scientists to the wounded. On a journey fraught with peril, sometimes a captain must make difficult decisions. This starship is just like its people, in need of care, ever-growing, and capable of overcoming anything. For where there is life, there is hope. Wishlist now on Steam.
IGN FanFest is brought to you by PlayStation 5, bringing you the extraordinary.
Have you been stuck on the same quest for just way too long?
I just want answers!
IGN's strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help. IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and of course, free. You can even track your progress with handy checklists if you go for 100% just like we do.
We're gonna be going over some sensitive material.
IGN has the very best, most complete, and accurate guides for God of War Ragnarok, The Witcher 3, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Genshin Impact, Elden Ring, and so much more.
I will require some time to process this information.
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Don't try it!
Ow!
What the? And that's why we don't play in lava. You were the chosen one!
Wow, I love SpongeBob, and there's so much more where that came from, so follow IGN on all social channels. We've got video game previews, we've got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, what are you doing? Let's follow them.
Behind every game, movie, and TV show you love is a wild, crazy, and sometimes unbelievable story.
No one is just black and white.
From revealing the secrets behind your favorite franchises to solving a legendary video game mystery, I'm coming for you. IGN Inside Stories gives you a peek behind the curtain.
If people come to the game now and see what's going on there, I think they'll be surprised.
Join us as we dive into hyper-dedicated fan bases, worldwide phenomenons, and the most incredible untold tales in games and entertainment.
I said, wait a minute, that doesn't sound so good.
It was definitely not what I expected in the best way.
Inside Stories, available now only on IGN.
Where's Glenn, Summers? I'm sorry, keep it waiting, boys. Bombs away.
Relic Entertainment has been hard at work developing Company of Heroes 3 with a keen attention to what the Company of Heroes community has enjoyed about the series in the past, while also innovating the real-time strategy genre with dynamic new elements. We've got a lot of ground to cover, but here are 5 things you need to know, presented by Company of Heroes 3.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Wouldn't start without you.
Company of Heroes 3 features the largest launch roster of playable factions for the series to date. The British forces are a well-rounded and resilient army, perfect for new and veteran players alike. The US forces use infantry, light vehicles, and an abundance of tanks to gain the upper hand in battle. The Wehrmacht are a formidable defensive force capable of breaking through enemy lines with devastating counterattacks. The Deutsches Afrikorps are known for their presence in North Africa and utilize an arsenal of mechanized vehicles, which allow them to make a strong impression in the early game. Pair these varied factions with the 14 maps available at launch, and you'll find that both single and multiplayer suites feature an impressive amount of replayability.
The city was ours, but our fight in Italy had only just begun.
The The Italian theater of war is often overlooked in historical retellings of World War II in games. To provide an authentic look at the grisly conditions of Mediterranean combat, Relic Entertainment looked to the hills to elevate the action. Literally. Company of Heroes 3 places emphasis on verticality and maximizing your unit's position to secure the advantage. Take the high ground and give your units a positional advantage by shooting from elevated windows in buildings or down the sloped and winding streets of a mountain village. This tactic can also work against you, so don't let your enemies take these defensive positions before you can. Company of Heroes 3 features enhanced fidelity of structures, environments, and armies, which is a fancy way of saying they blow up real good. Buildings are affected dynamically based on the amount of damage they receive from armored vehicles and artillery. Rubble from demolished and damaged buildings can crush nearby units as it crumbles to the ground, while ruins of buildings can potentially be used as cover by infantry. The all-new dynamic campaign map layer complements the traditional boots-on-the-ground gameplay with a macro overview of the wider scope of battle. This is where long-term planning and strategizing is key as you work to position your forces and military assets as optimally as possible while still maintaining supply lines and defending your armies from the counterattacks of the enemy. Nearby assets and reinforcements on the campaign map will be available to be called on during campaign missions, or you can use them directly on the campaign map to soften the enemy's hold on a given area. You can experience everything this mode has to offer in the Italian single-player campaign mode. If you find yourself becoming overwhelmed by the opposing forces, pause the game at any time in single-player matches with the full tactical pause feature. This gives you time to get the lay of the land, place orders for troops and vehicles, and queue up a sequence of actions for units. This also allows you to command your units with precision and timeliness instead of scrambling to command multiple groups of vehicles and infantry at once while the clock is running, allowing for new players and strategy enthusiasts alike to experience a new way to play Company of Heroes. This is just the tip of the spear. Whether you're a longtime fan or an RTS grunt ready for war, Company of Heroes 3 offers players historic accuracy and challenging, yet rewarding gameplay. Step into the general's shoes for yourself when Company of Heroes 3 comes out February 23rd on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. For more on Company of Heroes 3, check out our IGN first looks at the new mod tools being included with the game at launch, or how to master the use of tactical pause, and for everything else gaming, keep it right here on IGN.
Up next, The Expanse was one of the most revolutionary sci-fi shows in history, and soon it'll be a revolutionary video game from Telltale. Let's take a look at some brand new gameplay from Telltale's The Expanse.
We have a new target.
What is it this time, El Dorado? The Fountain of Youth? Let me guess. The Falcon Horde of Venus?
The UNN Urshanabi. Cap believes there's something valuable on board. Something special.
Do we want to invite that kind of attention?
We'll be fine. In and out. No games.
I'll monitor any data you send back, and I'll be here to patch anyone up, should it come to that.
What happened?
Unexploded charge, I think. Pirates must have left it behind.
Shang, you didn't scan first?
Commanders, this is Private Ensign Takabi. The pirates have asked me to report the following. All crew members have been killed or captured. The pirates do not wish to kill anyone else. If you open the gate now and allow them to complete their search, no more lives will be lost. If you do not comply... Oh God, no. Please don't.
Drummer, his suit is punctured and losing pressure. You need to release the vault and patch him now or he could die.
Belay that. That vault has O2, fuel. We can't afford to lose it.
Where are you going to go, Kamina?
Anywhere but here. With anyone but you.
Hate me all you want. You are many things, Beltalowda. But you are not a traitor.
Hold on.
Kaka, what are you doing?
That was gameplay from Company of Heroes 3 and The Expanse. Earlier today, we showed you the first trailer from the next season of Netflix's Shadow and Bone, and now it's time to talk to the stars of the show. Take it away.
Are you willing to sacrifice that which is most precious to you?
Season 2 of Shadow and Bone on Netflix is finally arriving on March 16th, but why wait until then to get our questions answered when I've got the cast right here? Please welcome Ben Barnes, Louis Tan, Patrick Gibson, Jessie May Lee, Kit Young, Anna Leong Brophy, and Jack Wolf. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. Now, if you thought you were excited about Season 2 before, we've got something to really get your head spinning. Shadow and Bone fans, your very first look at the trailer for Season 2. Let's check it out.
The Darkling has created an unkillable army made of shadow.
Kerrigan damned this country into darkness. I have to destroy him. So good.
You are Relena Starkov.
Will you help us tear down the fold?
Well, you couldn't do it with one amplifier.
I need the power of all three.
You must find Firebird and the Sea Whip. Take their power. Finish what you started.
You with me?
Always. Adventure. Danger. Now you're speaking my language. What nightmare have we gotten ourselves into? I didn't realize you were patriots. Well, if you die, we don't get paid. I promised that you and I would change the world.
That is never going to happen. I'll destroy the only thing you have left.
It is magic. You will not know what price it demands until it is too late.
Are you willing to sacrifice that which is most precious to you?
Go on, man.
What a trailer. So much action. So let's just get into it and talk about it. But first off, my question watching that is, Ben, why does Netflix want to keep tearing up your face? First on The Punisher, now on this. What's up with that?
I think I just have one of those scratchable, punchable faces, maybe. I don't know. I'm entering my Taylor Swift, revenge era. I think that's what's happening in this trailer.
The end of season 1 sees Alina sever her connection with the Darkling, but the season 2 trailer suggests that may not be the case. We also see Alina grow into her powers as the Sun Summoner. How will that affect her connection with the Darkling?
Oh, almost definitely. If you thought that their relationship was interesting in season 1, you just have to wait for season 2, because the way these characters are entwined and the things that they share are pretty interesting. So yeah, I can't wait for people to see how they come together in this season.
It's interesting because when you read the books, they have this connection to each other that is almost sort of telekinetic or something. And But I think that's quite difficult to sort of represent in a show, so we had to sort of find these clever ways to work around, you know, continuing their connection and their relationship, because you know, it's an important part of the show. It's, you know, clearly from the trailer you can see there's more of an antagonist feel. It's more straightforward. I think, you know, the cards are all on the table from the first season, so now, you know, now it's time to just sort of you know, there's a bit more of a good versus evil vibe.
As Alina gains more allies, how will season 2 tackle the brewing conflict between her and the Darkling?
Yeah, we've got the two warring factions of Grisha in season 2. And there's some nice little touches that I really enjoyed.
The whole world of the show, I think, is getting a lot larger. We're seeing a lot more of Lee Bardugo's Grishaverse this time around, so stay tuned.
One thing that I really love are, the unexpected allyships that form. There are characters or worlds interacting that you might not have sort of assumed would happen. Some really sort of surprising friendships being made, and it's really exciting actually when you've read the books to then read a script and go, oh my gosh, that character's talking to this character. Like, what is that like? Like, what would that be like?
So, for the new actors on the cast, what was it like joining the Grishaverse?
It was honestly just so lovely joining everyone. I think even just from like the first time we all met, everyone was so lovely and welcoming and kind. And I think, I don't know if you always get that when you know, everyone had already kind of had a whole year together, and yeah, they really just welcomed us with open arms. It's very, very sweet.
It's a very unique experience to be on a set with that many people, that many actors for, you know, a long period of time, working on a very tedious project physically, mentally, and have everybody get along. And it helps so much with the chemistry and just enjoying the process of filming. And I think we all got along very well.
I was a fan of season 1. It was intimidating, and they were all babes.
Totally. It
Just
was,
absolute
it
babes.
really is like entering a little found family, and like just shooting in a different country and how exciting that is, but also how isolating that can feel, and having people who know the score very well and know tips and tricks, and also are just making you feel so much more like at ease with everything. And I remember my first meetings with everyone, with all of you, really, really strongly. And actually, the day that our casting was announced, which is a scary day, we were together. We decided to do that together. Anna came to where I was staying, and
for some tea.
And we made a cup of tea. And I wanted to put countdown on something really normal, cups of tea, phones down, face down on the table, and we just had a very normal, lovely day. And then we decided to be like, okay, we've jumped in. We're in now. We're part of this. It's official.
All right, Shadow and Bone fans are some of the most passionate people out there, and they've got questions for you as well. Here's what they want to know. So Anna at RuVids asks, which scene while filming required the most retakes?
Wow.
Which scene?
Paddy?
I mean, it certainly wasn't one of mine.
No. the one take wonder kid. Anything where you have to sort of fall down, anything where you have to hit the deck hard, they're going to do that 19 times.
Mm-hmm. Just for the torture.
That's just the way it
they
works.
Just do that to you, man.
We had it on take two, but get him.
So for our new kids on the block, we have a question from Magdalena that asks, the new cast members must answer the classic question, Darklina or Melina, and why?
Okay.
Why?
I'm just gonna Genulina straight away. That's my ship. Totally. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I'd like to get behind that as well, to be honest. I mean, guys, you know, do we really want to put names on things? You know, let's just see where the love flows.
This is kind of brutal. I mean, he's sitting right there, but it's gotta be Melina. I'm sorry. How
do you feel about that?
I couldn't agree more.
I love both.
I could not agree more.
Even though Ben and I color coordinated today, and I'm really happy with this outcome.
No, come on.
I have to go Melina. I have to, mate. That's my team. That's my squad.
I've got cape and everything.
Last question
Yes.
on our post asking for fan questions. Your castmate Freddie demands, actually,
that
you
guy.
can finally ask
Yeah.
everyone why I'm their favorite castmate and why.
I don't give in to demands.
It's just true, isn't it?
Yeah.
No comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's between me and him.
It's quite a touchy subject, actually. Yeah, we just spend most of our time, like, you know, we're all like family, friends, you know, we all love each other. But we're
That's the
really
party
just
line.
vying for Freddie's attention the whole time.
100%.
And he likes it when we get on, so we have to put up this front.
I love Freddie. I know this is supposed to be a joke question, but I got nothing. I love the man. I don't know what to say.
He's my favorite because he reminds me of a warm cup of cocoa on a cold day. When I need a hug and a hand to hold, and Ben's not around, I'll go and find Freddie.
So what you're saying is, he's your second favorite.
Yeah, I mean that's
what you're saying.
That was a terrible answer.
That's what you're
too.
saying is he's your second favorite.
My answer was bad.
And we have to accept. I'm sorry, we've run out of time. We've run out of time. We have to accept your first answer, which is that I am your favorite. So that's. Thank you so much for watching.
You indirectly just said that Ben was your favorite.
I'm sorry, Freddie. I'm messing.
I want to thank Lewis and Paddy and Jesse and Kit and Anna
Thank you very much.
and Jack. Thank you, IGN Fan Fest. And just thank you for making me your favorite. Thank you.
He's right. That is all the time we have today. But I want to once again thank Ben Barnes, Lewis Tan, Patrick Gibson, Jessie May Lee, Kit Young, Anna Leong Brophy, and Jack Wolf for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to tune in.
Thank you.
You can see more of the Grishaverse when Season 2 of Shadow and Bone premieres on Netflix on March 16th.
IGN FanFest is presented by Company of Heroes 3, available February 23rd on PC.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's actually my ringtone, and there's so much more where that came from. So follow IGN on all social platforms. We've got video game previews, we've got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, tap that follow button so I get paid.
The IGN Game of the Year for 2022 is Elden Ring, but I want to go ahead and talk about the IGN Game of the Year for 2023, which is, of course, Tears of the Kingdom. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Seth, Tears of the Kingdom doesn't come out for another 5 months. Well, I don't have to listen to you because you're not my dad. Tears of the Kingdom earned its title as IGN's 2023 Game of the Year basically the moment its 2023 release date was finalized.
Mr. Miyamoto, are we going to get a new Mario game next year? Oh, he's nodding yes!
Mr. Miyamoto, are we gonna get more DLC for Captain Toad Treasure Tracker?
Ooh, good question.
That would be wonderful.
Oh,
He's disappearing. Don't miss out on the chaos. Every Thursday, we get together to talk about all things Nintendo. Tune in and be part of the NVC family.
You've shown incredible resolve, Trooper, doing your part for the mobile infantry of the Terran Federation. But it's time to take the next step and join the elite in the Deep Space Vanguard. Will you rain death from above as an assault unit? Provide additional cover in suppressing fire as a heavy infantry? Or support troopers with medical aid and critical resources? Whatever your strengths, the Deep Space Vanguard is the place for you. Once your boots on the ground, the infestation will feel relentless. We'll need you to gather resources and establish footholds so we can take back colonies for the Federation. Let's get to work, Trooper.
We need some defenses here.
We got contact! Bugs!
And remember, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Up next, The Ark is a bold new space survival show coming to Sci-Fi. Let's sit down with the folks behind it to see how it all came together.
Everybody that was in charge of running this ship is dead. It all falls to us now.
Welcome back to IGN FanFest. Sci-Fi's latest original series deals with deep space travel, interplanetary colonization, and the small matter of the survival of the entire human species. So here to talk about their new show, The Ark, showrunners and executive producers Dean Devlin, Jonathan Glasner, and from the cast, Christy Burke, Richard Fleischman, and Reese Ritchie. Guys, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
One of the things that struck me about the show is you guys have very cool looking spacesuits from a production design perspective. What can you talk about some of the inspirations? Because there's been so many spacesuits, frankly, in all of science fiction.
So this is inspired by one that's actually being developed at MIT. It grabs onto every artery of your body so it can control your blood flow, and it tightens up. And then the helmets, we wanted to do something where the helmets had the oxygen tank as part of the helmet instead of the standard one on the back, because we wanted to keep the thing on the back for moving around for EVAs.
Got it. Cool. And in terms of, it's got to be one of the perks of being an actor. At some point, you just have to be stoked about, like, isn't it fun that I get to wear a spacesuit all day?
On a daily basis.
Yeah.
We're just like, is this real? We get to put spacesuits on and walk through doors. I go,
And then, I mean, in terms of just, I don't know if you guys are gamers or anything, or movies or anything. Like, in terms of, are you? Like, okay, then where do these suits rank for you then?
It's super cool, you know. It's and to know that a lot of our tech is from original, like, real life sources, because a lot of these sci-fi things they're completely pie in the sky. But what's really cool about what Jonathan and Dean have done is they've linked it into something that's actually tangible and real, and just kind of notched it up a little bit. We're 100 years in the future. So we haven't, a lot of shows are like 2,000, 3,000 years ahead. So this is kind of, it's cool when you watch it, you feel like it's somewhere we could perhaps go to.
Right. Yeah. Now, Dean and Jonathan, you guys obviously, you're no stranger to the genre sci-fi. What is it about the tropes that you get to play with in a show like this that you really love?
Tropes.
Big word.
What tropes? I don't think we have tropes in the standard space show way, because we don't have tricorders, we don't have, laser weapons or any kind of fancy weapons at all. It's all based more, it's a little bit more like Mars, the movie Mars, or it's a little more based in reality. Yeah. But we get to play with all the fun of, sucking people out into space and,
Yeah.
those kinds of tropes.
Yeah. No, it's really cool.
And we have sliding doors as well.
Oh yeah,
so
that's a trope.
Whenever we walk through the sliding doors, we're like making noise.
I just love the doors,
You're
man.
obsessed.
Like,
You're
I guess when you're a kid and you're watching these things that we all fall in love with,
yeah,
everybody doors are never as exciting in real life. They just open and they don't make a noise. You see them on the telly, it's like,
right.
And then when that's actually happening,
and you're doing
that
like a
first
fight
day,
sequence,
or you're doing or some cool thing, flying some space shuttle or something, and the noises and the lights and stuff. It's just like you're living bucket list things.
When you're prepping a show like this, you're dealing with all of the realities of doing a television show and dealing with your budget, and so it's kind of very intense. And then you suddenly walk onto the set and you're 12 years old again. Immediately.
So I mean, we're talking too about between spacesuits, and there is some hard science fiction that's being woven into this. And particularly the premise of the show, like Earth is dying, and we need to go find a new place to live. And so, can you talk about like weaving some of that hard science fiction in with some of like the bigger sci-fi sandbox kind of world that you can do a lot. There's a lot more freedom to do some sort of more fantastical stuff. How is it to balance a show like that?
Well, I think that's the fun of science fiction, is you can talk about issues that maybe you can't talk to your uncle about over dinner, but you can discuss this episode. You know,
I met my uncle.
I grew up, a fan of the original Star Trek. And, that the original Star Trek was about the Vietnam War. It was about race relations, but it never, but they never said it.
Yeah.
So suddenly people who couldn't agree on anything could have these discussions. So for us, we're able to tap into certain issues, certain things going on, and discuss it in a way where it's not so hot button, where people suddenly can have a discussion over it.
Yeah. Everybody's got all the secrets, and you're slowly revealing who's telling lies to who and why and all this stuff. How much of that did you know from the start? How much of it did you want to know? Do you want to know other people's secrets? How much of it was playing like that?
This is quite cool, because we were all sort of taken into the room by Dean to tell you a bit of information about your character that only you can know.
Don't tell anyone.
Absolutely do not tell anyone, which has never happened to me on any job before. And it's quite obviously hugely informative as an actor in your own character, but then to have those secrets and keep them the way we did, and then have it revealed to everyone
tell each
throughout
other.
the thing. That was really cool.
And also to be in the car on the way back from
each
set and have
other.
your like colleagues go like, I think that
I think
X,
I
Y, Z,
know
you
your
know, and it's like, I'm saying nothing.
secret.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's really
that's
cool.
Great. That's great. So how long do you see this show going? And also, if I can just, I guess this is the part of the interview where I pitch you an ending to your own show. Is there a version of this show where they don't make it? Like, is that the type of sci-fi kind of thing that you like, in terms of like using science fiction to make statements that aren't necessarily explicit, right?
Well,
is that something you would be interested in?
I would say to you that this, and this may give away where we ultimately get to, but we're optimists. And there is a trend now of super dark and super edgy shows. And I get it. They're very compelling and fun to watch, but it's not what I'm really interested in. And I think Jonathan and I share this, in that this show is really about the triumph of human spirit. That, look, we just watched the world go through a giant pandemic, and it brought out a lot of conflict, but it also brought out the best of people. And I think ultimately we triumph over our conflicts. And that's what this show is all about.
Fun to play it that way?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, when you've got guys like Jonathan and Dean in the driving seat, we can all just take a back seat, and the experience in this genre, particularly that these two bring to the table, it's just a real privilege for us to be in a position to kind of be part of the show, and that's certainly how I felt getting on board.
Okay, let's not kill his character.
Yeah. Did I get away with it?
Yes.
He lives.
The other two, you're still on the block.
Okay.
Well, so the arc is airing right now Wednesday nights on Sci-Fi. We're 3 episodes into the season as of right now, and you guys brought a clip from the next episode of the show. So let's take a look at the clip, and we'll come back and we'll chat about it for a second.
Drought's over. Drink up.
Good news, that was the sound of our engines coming back online. We're on the move.
Give us the bridge, everyone out.
What's this about?
We found evidence implicating a suspect in the murder.
Well, who is it?
You.
I don't know what this is.
Bullshit. Jasper saw you kill a man. You know what that does? It gives you motive in his murder.
Yeah, well, it must be fake. That's not me.
I have no choice, Lieutenant. I'm putting you under house arrest.
Felix, that's not me in the video. I didn't kill anyone.
So it's obviously this is an example of what we were sort of talking about earlier about the water crisis has been ended, but then like here we go into the next thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the interesting part of a show like this is that it's a pressure cooker. And, you know, to some degree, the ship in itself is a microcosm of our whole world, but everything is intensified. So every suspicion is a bigger suspicion. Every secret is a bigger secret. And then when real secrets come out, they're under so much pressure to deal with that while trying to stay alive.
Right. It's not really a bathroom break kind of show. It's not like you can't really go, I'll come back in 5 hours, I'll just make a cup of coffee and come back. It's like it's going 100 miles an hour the whole time, you know, which is it's a thrill, and it's kind of it's quite a lot to deal with.
There's a ton of humor in there as well, though. There's a lot of light relief, which is real fun.
Well, thanks again for being here, and congratulations on the show. That's all the time we have today, but I want to thank once again Dean Devlin, Jonathan Glassner, Christy Burke, Richard Fleischman, and Reese Ritchie. Be sure to check out The Arc, which airs every Wednesday at 10/9 Central on Sci-Fi, streaming the next day on Peacock. And stick around IGN for more FanFest.
Well, that just about wraps us up on day 1 of IGN FanFest 2023. We hope you had a ton of fun hanging out with us today.
But the party doesn't stop here, because tomorrow brings a whole new day of IGN FanFest, and you won't want to miss it.
Tomorrow we've got more games, including Diablo 4, Redfall, and Lies of P, as well as interviews with some of the key players behind huge movies and shows like Scream 6, Cocaine Bear, Star Trek Picard, and Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
That's an incredible lineup, and if you can't wait for it, we've got some great stuff to keep you busy until then. Head over to IGN's Steam page and add some of the games we showed off to your wish list.
You can also swing by the IGN store and grab a t-shirt, or sign up for IGN Rewards for exclusive offers and free video game codes. And as always, you can keep up with IGN on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and over on our TikTok, you can find quick recaps on everything you saw at day 1 of FanFest.
So from all of us here at IGN, thank you so much for watching FanFest Day 1. We'll see you tomorrow.
IGN FanFest is presented by The Last of Us Part 1, available on PS5 and PC, rated M for mature. Tune into IGN 1 on your smart TVs for the latest news on your favorite releases, gameplay exclusives, and all the entertainment you can handle.
Cinefix on IGN 1, your friendly Friday night home for film fanaticism.
You're watching The Weekly Fix, ready to fill you in on anything you may have missed in the world of gaming and entertainment.
Welcome to Should I Play This? This is what to watch here on IGN 1.
Find it all in one place for free on IGN 1.
They turned into a network. Who knew?
This is cool. It looks really appetizing, and I want to eat it. I'm sorry. No, it looks like a toffee apple or something.
I mean, can we give it? Can we afford to give it to her?
No, I won't eat it. That's crazy.
Just the rest of my audience is so hard to hear.
Wow, I love Karen Gillan. She's amazing as Nebula, and you know there's so much more where that came from. So follow IGN on every social platform. We've got video game previews, we've got celebrity moments, and so much more. So come on, let's hit the follow button, or else I'll get fired.
6 years ago, while talking about Sonic on Game Scoop, Brian, you had this to say.
Real talk. Where we need to admit that this was never really a great franchise.
Nope. Wow. It was never really a good franchise, huh, Brian? Well, I'm sorry. We're well over, believe it or not, 100 Sonic games, 2 movies, a long-running comic book series, and 6 shows. When you besmirch Sonic, you besmirch everyone associated with Sonic, okay, Brian? Brian, I want to present you with this.
I will hold that L. I was wrong. I have since come around on that character. I have watched the movies with my kid and enjoyed them immensely. Sonic Frontiers is fun. I liked Sonic Colors. I liked Sonic Generations. I liked Sonic Mania. Something we can all agree on is that Sonic has been good. It's Crash Bandicoot that's never been good.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
If you enjoyed that, check out full episodes of Beyond, IGN's PlayStation show, as we talk, argue, and goof on everything PlayStation. New episodes drop every Tuesday on IGN.com and IGN Games on YouTube.